All right, we should be in a moment streaming live. It does take a minute for things to catch up on the YouTubes. So if you are watching the view or watching the video, just kind of keep that in mind. I see us live, so we're ready. Yay! Hey everyone, welcome to Friday night. My name is Becca and you are on the SEWBECCA channel. With me tonight, I've got a couple of guests. I have Fallon from Quilts. Want to give them a wave, Fallon? Oh, there. I got to look you over here. I'm looking at the live. I'm like, you're not moving. This is me. And then we have Monique from Open Gate Quilts tonight. And they're both here with me because we're going to be doing a collab. I have done this for the past few months now, and I kind of low-key love this. The Open Gates Quilt Box is a monthly sewing subscription box that is put together by Open Gate Quilts, which is yours truly, well, not yours truly here, but yours truly, Monique. Right. Monique puts these boxes together. They're phenomenal, but they're so well packaged that I feel like when I do an unboxing video for this, I get through it really, really, really quick because I don't have to second guess or find what everything is. It's just all there. You know what I mean? So I toyed with opening one on a live stream a couple months ago, and I really liked the way that took off. So we're going to do that again tonight. But we have a little bit of something we're going to try. So Fallon has already opened this box in her channel. And she's already done a video out there. She already knows what's in there, and she's already completed one of the two projects. So she knows what I don't know, and we'll find out what that is in just a couple minutes. Before we get to introducing our guests, I do have a couple of things that I want to show you. I've got some happy mail here, and then I want to show you my crochet progress, and then I will introduce both of our guests. But I do want to let you know, first off, tonight we're going to have a little bit of an agenda so that we can keep things, running a little bit smoother. So from 8 to 8:30, we're going to do a little bit of live unboxing, some announcements, some talking through things that are happening in Fallon's world, things that are happening in Monique's world, and things that are happening in my world with the packages and things. Then from 8:30 to 9, we're going to see if this works, just like we did last month. We're going to open it up for a live Q&A while we still have Fallon and Monique here. And so one at a time, I will bring on anybody that would like to come on camera right here live on YouTube with us. There will be a link posted in the Facebook group for you to join. I'll bring you on. You can say hi. If you have a question for one or all three of us, feel free to ask your question. We'll answer it, and then we'll bring in somebody else, and we'll do that for about 30 minutes. During that time, there will be a giveaway, so make sure you stick around for the live Q&A. About 9 o'clock Eastern Time, we're going to transition out of the Q&A, and we're going to get started sewing. Fallon and I are going to work on the small project, and when we're done with that, we'll share what you guys have been working on in the Facebook group through screen share, just like I do just about every other Friday night. So that's what my agenda is for tonight. Before we get started, I want to show you my crochet progress, and I want to show you a happy mail package I got, and then we'll kick it over to Monique for some updates. All right, so the first thing that I got is this package, which I'm going to hold the address label this way because this is my personal mailing address, and I don't want to put that all over the internet. But this is a package that I got from Tiffany's Quilting Life, and I already cut it and opened it because I was like, oh, I got happy mail from my friend Tiffany. I'll just read it. And when I went to open the card, it's got text on the bottom that says, you can open on live. And I noticed it was also written on the poly mailer. So I was like, oh, I'm going to wait. So I didn't open it. We're going to open it now. So Alicia's like, oh, by the way, I haven't even told you that. I'll tell you that in a minute. So I've got family in the room with me, and they're like, yeah, what is it? Open it up. So we're going to dive into both of these first. I have a card, and I'm a little nervous to read a card live on air. I don't know how that goes for me.
Oh, it's long too.
Okay, I'm just gonna read this out loud. It doesn't look like there's anything personal here. It says, Becca, you have been such a great friend to me. I never know how to repay you for all you have done for me. So I made you a little wall hanging for your new studio. I didn't know exactly what you would like, but I do know you have that hand crank machine and that you sew for therapy, which I do. So I combined the two and made you this. Oh, I also picked up that you like blues, so I chose this blue for your name. Love always, your friend Tiff. So this is what we've got. I'm going to give you the overhead camera so that you can see what I see. This backing looks like fabric I donated to her once upon a time. Oh my goodness!
Honestly,
Look at that.
that is
I got
so pretty.
That's
She
awesome.
embroidered this for me. It says sewing is my therapy, and then it says SEWBECCA, and it has a pink vintage machine. So the reason why I'm showing it this way is because, oh, let me give you the face cam. The reason why I'm showing it this way is because I actually have family in the studio with me tonight. You guys have seen her in the chat. My sister Alicia is here with me in person, but she does not want to be on camera. Unlike my mother, neither of my sisters ever want to be on camera. But she has no problem being here on voice, so she's here in moral support. She's in what I like to call the peanut gallery seat, so I was showing her what it looks like. Isn't that pretty?
That's pretty.
And she's got the don't embarrass me face look on right now. So she is actively looking through the chat. So if there's anything that she'll read through, if there's anything that you need from me or you want to say, if Fallon, Monique, or I don't pick it up, please make sure to just tag me or just yell Alicia or type it in caps or something, and she'll read it out to me. Also with us is her son Jake. So he's currently engrossed in something else. We have no idea what he's doing. We introduced him to Fallon and Monique earlier, and he was like, "What?" Oh, we got this.
And also Mark's watching on his, so if he can see questions as well. And he can
Awesome.
answer questions too.
Yes, he can. Yes, he can. So that is from Tiffany. Thank you so much, Tiff. I absolutely love it. And for those of you that don't know, this is one of her first embroidery designs, which I don't know much about embroidery, but I do know enough to know that I always had puckering issues when I tried it before, and there's no puckering on this. She just started. I don't know if you guys know this. She won first place in a quilting competition, and her first place prize was like a $6,000 or $7,000 embroidery machine, and she made me this lovely wall hanging. So I actually have the perfect spot right up there by that safety pin, right? Yeah, it's going to go up this weekend.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. All right, I want to
post it in the Facebook.
I will. I'll post it in the Facebook group. So I want to show you my crochet progress, and then we're going to kick it over to introductions from my friends. So last week, if you were here, my other sister who crochets was here and was trying to teach me how to crochet. And I will tell you that I will say I was not. I'll use that past tense. I was not a crocheteer, as we were calling it last last week.
I'm also not a crocheteer.
I was not a crocheteer. I preferred to knit things, but I never really completed anything knitting because it was so slow, but I kind of just like the rhythm and the sound of clinking the needles, and I like the feel of the yarn. And so I would start things, and they usually sat as UFOs forever. Yeah, I must have started like 15 scarves and never finished them.
They're just thin scarves.
They're
It's
just
fine.
it's just fine. They're just short. They're just fine. It's just fine. It's
It's
fine.
not a big deal. You just need the chain. It's
Just
a
stitch
scarf.
them all
It's
together,
fine.
Becca, and then you have one.
Just someone together and be like, what? I finally have a finished scarf. So what if it's
Or a
20
belt.
different colors?
It's a
It could be a
patchwork
belt.
scarf.
Maybe for a really small child. I don't know. That's
Do
right.
what you want.
So, my mom and my sister Nicole have been mentioning that I should try crochet for a while, and I'm like, no, I'm not a crocheteer. However, last week I was, speak of the devil, here comes Mama Nancy.
Well, you can't say you got people in the studio and not include your mother.
Here she comes. We're about to have a full studio
Star of the
tonight.
show has arrived.
Oh my goodness, everybody watch out, Mama Nancy in the house. Hey, let me see your project and I'll show it to him since I'm doing a little bit of
That's why
project.
I brought it up so you could
She
show it.
wants me to show you the sashiko that she finished. So I'll set that aside.
And I
So-
want it in a frame.
So, project-wise, the crochet-wise, last week I was talking to Teresa Louise for a little bit before I went live. I was telling her I didn't really know what I wanted to put together or do on the live, and I was kind of at a loss for a project. And she was like, well, why don't you crochet? Your sister's there, your mom's there. Maybe they could teach you how to do it on a live stream. And I thought, great idea. So my sister and I ran up to Michael's. We grabbed a few small spools of sugar and cream cotton yarn so that I could put together some washcloths or hot pads or something that, hey, Peanut Gallery. Thank you. Have a whole conversation.
Excuse us, we're
Stop.
trying to get
Stop.
to the fans.
Stop. Anyway, so
family reunion.
It's actually not even a matter of that you guys can't hear me because I know the microphone's closer to me and that's just background noise. But it's really a matter of I want to be in on that conversation too, and I can't when I'm trying to talk over here and they're making me lose my train of thought. So stop it. Anywho, we went to Michael's. I picked up a few spools or skeins, I guess is the right word, of cotton yarn so that I could make some washcloths or some hot rags. And I started one on a live stream and I actually finished it. So what I'm going to do is give you the nice project view. And oh, why am I all white? What is going on here? Do you see this? Like what? Why is the camera all white?
It's because I brightened the room when I came into it.
No, Mother, that's not it. Oh, it's because I faded to color, not
That's
to the
wishful
project
thinking.
SRAM.
There we go.
There we go. I just got to zoom you in so you can see. Hold on. Technical difficulties. There we go. All right. So last week I started this one, and the color's off a little bit, but the stitches were super tight, and I can understand what my mom and my sister were talking about now when I say that. So I'm going to pin my video so that I'm full screen for everyone right now. Just give me a second. There we go. So this is the washcloth that I started. This is the first crochet project I ever started and finished. It's a little bit wobbly. It's a little bit wonky. The edges are not perfectly straight. You can see up here I started kind of because I was dropping stitches, but I finished it and it's done. And for what this is going to be, it is perfect because it still can be used as a washcloth or a hot pad. Who cares what it looks like? It's good. So,
Dibs.
okay.
You can have it.
There you go. Dibs.
Dibs.
Dibs. It's gone home.
Now I can say I crocheted.
You crocheted?
Crocheted. I'm going to pass it off
Oh, I
as my
like
word.
crocheted much better.
Crocheted.
She crocheted something.
I've completed a project.
Oh, goodness. She's completed a project, y'all. Listen to her. She's going to pass it off as hers. Oh, my goodness.
What do you think they call dibs?
Well,
Look what I made.
you guys are crazy. All right, so right out of that project, I knew I wanted to keep going. I wanted to challenge myself to keep it moving. And so, nope, that's not the right one. No, maybe it is. Hold on.
That one there.
The big one?
No, the big one was like the last.
It was
the one, no, the other two.
this one. It was this one. This is the second one that I started.
Yeah.
So I pulled out a skein of red and white and pink. And what I tried to do here, and I'm going to try to get you in so that my head isn't, there it goes. So what I tried to do here is I wanted to challenge myself to make my stitches a little bit looser so it didn't have that tight feeling. It felt more like a stretchy dishcloth. But when I was done, I taught myself to do a single crochet all around the outside as a border so that the edges, no I didn't either, I lied. I did not do a border on this one. I just finished it and I tied it off. I did.
Threw it at Mom.
Yep, and I threw it at Mom. And I did weave in. I did a long, this is the same thing as a long tail cast on in knitting, where I take the working yarn and I weave it into my stitches so they didn't have anything laid out. So this is what I did second, and then right off of that I took the rest of my yarn and I did this one. And in this one I did the same single crochet stitch with the same tension, and I added a single crochet border around the outside. And it got a little wonky around here because I'm still learning. I picked up a couple extra stitches and rounded it off when I didn't mean to, but it's still functional. And being that this is only my third crochet project, I'm just going to claim success right there.
Success.
And then I took a full skein and made a much bigger one. And this has single crochet in the center, and I really challenged myself to do something a little different. So in my border around the outside, one time around, I did a double crochet around the outside, and then going into the double crochet, I did rows of single crochet. Now the corners are not perfect at all, and it doesn't lay perfectly flat because I was picking up and dropping stitches primarily around the corner, so I need to practice that. But being that this is my first time doing something other than just single crochet back and forth, and I wasn't going from a pattern, I wasn't counting stitches at all, that turned out phenomenal. So all of this is just to tell you, never say never. Never say you're not going to do something. Never say that you're not going to try something, and never say that you can't, because If you would have asked me 2 weeks ago if I crocheted or I could crochet or I would ever do it, my answer to all of those would have been no, 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 never, 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 don't even think about it. But here I am with 4 things that are crocheted. Are they perfect? Nope, not at all. Is it progress? Yep, absolutely. And am I enjoying doing it? Absolutely. So I do think I'm going to be moving forward with that. And then before I turn this over to Fallon to talk a little bit about her channel, I do want to show you one more thing. This was not on my agenda, but you know, mothers. She has asked that I show you her sashiko.
That's beautiful.
So if you don't know what sashiko is, this is kind of, I feel like a cross between, it's almost like embroidery. You get a piece of cloth that feels like linen and it has a design printed on it, and your whole objective is just to trace the dotted line with your thread to make these stitches with this nice thick thread. And so you can kind of see Mom forgot to do this line right here.
Did I miss one?
You did. This blue line right here is the stitching that you can see. So if you look up sashiko, you'll see all sorts of things about it. She has loved doing this and she wants to put this in a frame to hang it up. So, all right, those are all of my updates. Fallon and Monique, thank you so much for sticking in with me because I literally took half an hour.
Well, I enjoyed looking at all those, so thank you for sharing them.
Good. I do see in the chat some people were saying that the chat bot wasn't working. It should be working now, or it will be in a moment. So if you could try now, that would be great. Fallon, I would love it if we could take just a couple minutes and talk about you and your channel and how you're doing. What are you doing on YouTube? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you're doing here.
All right. Well, so thank you so much for having me on your channel, Becca, because I have been following you for a while. So it kind of feels like I'm like with a famous YouTuber right now.
I laugh at that.
But I am also, it's odd because I'm extremely nervous, even though I have my own channel, SEWBECCA Quilts, but I'm never live on it. And I'm always in awe of how smooth yours run. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thank you so much. And you know, I love Monique's subscription box, so I'm excited to be on here. I have already opened it. I cannot wait. But what's going on my channel? So my channel is all about quilting mainly as well. And I do a lot of unboxings and some tutorials and reviews of different products. But what I'm most excited about is that I just hit 5,000 subscribers, which is
Congratulations.
I'm so excited about it. And right now on my channel, if any of you guys want to go check it out after this, stay with us though. But after this, if you want to check it out, my last unboxing of Monique's subscription box is actually a giveaway as well. So it is still open till the 19th. If any of you want to take a look, the main giveaway prize is one of Monique's subscription boxes, and it is the January box, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are 3 smaller prizes that are amazing, and it is Monique's Fit to Be Geese template. So it is an amazing giveaway if you want to check it out after this though, because we're going to do a lot of fun stuff on here. So like I said, I already unboxed this and I'm really excited to see Becca's reaction. I can't wait because it is amazing. But I'll let Monique tell you a little bit more about it and let her introduce herself as well.
Awesome. All right, Monique, let's hear a little bit from you.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Monique with Open Gate Quilts. I have been, just tell you a little history. I've been in business since 2004. I started the subscription box a year and a half ago. We went from 30, now we're at 200. So yay, it's really gone really well. I love doing them. We have 10 spots left. What happened, I can add a few in, and we've been able to add 10 in. So if anybody's interested, they can sign up on opengatequilts.com, and Mark can put the link on there for you as well. And then with the box, and Fallon and Becca will probably talk about this too, is when I have 2 different projects and I try to keep them all nice and coordinated. So I really work hard at getting it so that when you open it, it's like getting a present because everything's packaged really pretty and you can open it and think, oh, this is exciting. I want to do that. So that's my goal, is to have that done. I love my job. I say that all the time to Mark. I love my job. So you guys have made it wonderful. You've shown people my boxes and it's been great. And don't be nervous, Fallon. When I first started doing lives, I was the same way. I was so nervous. I was just like, I don't even really want to do this because it's just so nerve wracking. But once you get doing it more, you get used to it. And people are so nice. If you're nervous, they're like, don't worry about it. We'll get it. You know, if you make a mistake, mistakes happen. That's the way life is. So that's
so funny how different it feels.
Yeah, it is weird. And I'm actually the opposite now. When I actually have to record something, I'm more nervous, and I don't know why. It doesn't really make any sense, but because I guess I really don't know why, but I'm more nervous in that way. On lives, I'm like, oh, no problem. So it gets there.
Awesome. Well, that's, I just realized I did not send out the text alert to let people know that we were live. So I was multitasking while you were talking. Thank you so much. All right, so we are probably ready to get into the box. I know we're probably got about 7 minutes before we open the live Q&A, so we'll whip through this box a little bit faster than we have in the past. So as I'm starting to open this, getting the tape cut because she secures everything nicely, why don't you tell us a little bit about this month's box? And then Fallon, I'd love to hear, don't tell me what's in it, but tell me what your impressions were.
This month's box is, and it's no secret, it's all about Dusk to Dawn. So the whole inspiration was, how can I use Dusk to Dawn in the best way? The prints, making it appealing to everybody. And I love the projects. I was so excited when I got them done. And I couldn't wait for people to get it. So hopefully you will feel the same way as I do.
Well, when I opened it, I think on my unboxing, I literally said something like, I just want to stop recording right now and start sewing. So that's how excited about it I was.
That's awesome.
I finished the large project, so after you look at it, I can show it.
That'd be awesome.
Because I figured you didn't see it, so I didn't want to spoil it for you.
I think that's amazing. Thank you so much, Fallon. That's great. Let's go through the unboxing. I'll show you guys what the inside of the box looks like. So I'm going to go top down. I'm going to spotlight the camera on me so you won't see Fallon or Monique while we're doing this, but you will still continue to hear them. And just let me know what you, we'll talk through the items really quickly, and then when we're done, if you can show me what your project looks like, Fallon, that'd be great. All right, so here is the box. This is what it looks like when you get it. And the inside, you have a sticker up at the top, which you can't see, that says Open Gate Quilts. Maybe you see it in the little inset. And then you have tissue paper with the sticker on it that says Open Gate Quilt Box. And when you tear this open, everything's always packaged so nicely in here. You have a sheet of paper that shows you about all the details that are in here. And so I'm not going to get too far into the details of what everything is, because then you wouldn't have a reason to watch Fallon's video. So please go check out her unboxing video. Check and see what she thinks. We're just going to go through it quick so we can get right into the project. So the first thing that I have, Monique, I see a spool of thread. This is a small spool of Orifil thread. Is this from your Dusk to Dawn fabric color or your thread color collection?
It isn't, but it's very close. And I chose it to go with the small project, and you can also use it for the big project. And I actually put two different colorways in the projects. I put a pinky red and then a blue. So it depends on which one you get. You either get a blue or the pink, and whichever one you get, your matching thread will go with it.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I'm just going to, like I said, I'm going to go really quick. The next thing that we've got in the box is a clover seam ripper, which is always something that we can use in our sewing room, right? We're always looking for seam rippers. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like my seam rippers eventually get dull and I can't use them anymore. So having one of these that are more disposable like and not just beautiful and friendly or whatever, that works out well for me. And then I have our little extra fat quarter. So it looks like this month, instead of getting an extra pattern, we got an extra fat quarter. And this is from the Dusk to Dawn fabric line that Monique has designed. This is a batik fabric line. Monique, did everybody get the same fat quarter here?
No, everybody got a different one. So what I did do though, is I made sure in the kits that the fat quarter wasn't in the kit. So you had a piece of almost everything in the line. So you had a little piece of some, but a bigger piece of this one.
Okay.
That's
No.
so fun.
All right, now these are the two projects. So first, if you want to grab Fallon, I'll spotlight you after I show off the project. The first thing that we have is the kit for the main project, and oh my goodness. My jaw has hit the floor. All right, Fallon, do you have yours handy?
I do.
Let me get you spotlighted. Hold on a second. Are you guys leaving me?
No.
Okay, they're coming back maybe.
Oh, Fallon, that looks amazing.
Oh, it's so beautiful,
See. Oh,
right? It's a wall hanging.
I love that.
That's gorgeous.
That's really pretty.
I love
That's really
the
pretty.
colors.
It's really pretty. It's beautiful. Nice. How long did it
Amazing.
take you to put together, Fallon?
How long?
Mm-hmm.
I think it didn't take me long at all. Just most of hers take, I feel like, between an hour or two, the larger projects. But I did really simple quilting, like straight line quilting. So I think this would be a fun one if you're learning how to free motion quilt, to really do some fun detail on. But I loved it so much, I didn't want to mess it up. So I just did simple quilting.
I could
And Becca, I have my sample too, so I can show you if you want that.
let me
So-
spotlight you for everyone. Go ahead, toss it up there. Oh,
I did a little more quilting. Can you
yes, we can see it. We can see.
up and kind of push it down so we can see a little bit of the quilting? There we
Sure.
go.
We can see the lines coming out from the sun like rays.
Yeah, like I love that with the rays.
Yeah,
Yeah.
here, I'll put it down just there we go. Just
So pretty.
So what I did was instead of appliquing it and then quilting it, I quilted it and appliqued it at the same time just to save some time. And I think it's sometimes if you're appliquing it and then quilting it, it's longer, and why? You're going to quilt it anyway, so you might as well. So I just appliqued it around here. I did some little swirls in here. This was Mark's suggestion, which I think is amazing. He said to put these radial lines going out like the sun.
Yeah.
That's very simple. Just doing straight lines. And then in the bottom part here, kind of did waves around, so it kind of looks like the water.
I love that. It's amazing. And what great use of that border fabric. We had talked about that before when we talked about your design, how you like to include a nice border fabric because not everybody does that. And you've given us the purple for the lower half and the red for the top, so it adds to that sunset look.
Yeah, it's really, on my video that I do, I show you how to do the mitered corners, which is very simple, and it goes very quickly. And when I was designing it, I was a little worried about doing this part, especially on the binding, but it actually was very simple. You just, stop there and sew it like a 1/4 inch. So it's not on a diagonal. It's actually quite simple to do. So
Yeah, and your instructions in the pattern were perfect. I had no trouble. I thought it was going to be really hard when I saw the picture, but it was perfect. You explained it perfectly.
I was worried about it too, Fallon. I was thinking that it was going to be difficult, but actually it was not at all. And it was actually one of those quilts. When I designed it, I'm like, this is really cool. And then when I made it, I'm like, it's cooler than I thought.
Awesome.
But yeah, I really like it. So
There's one more thing in the box, and this is what we're going to show you. Let me spotlight myself again, so give me a second. We're going to go back to that overhead camera, and this is what Fallon and I are going to be working on tonight. It is a Notions roll-up. It'll measure 8 inches by 14 inches, and on the back side of the package, this is what it'll look like. So We'll get to sewing this in just a little bit, but before we do, I am going to put a link for Zoom in the Facebook group. So if you are interested in jumping in here, and if you're not, that's okay. But if you are interested in jumping in and saying hi to us in person, on camera, live on YouTube, feel free to join that link. We'll let you in. You can ask a couple of questions, and then we'll move on and let somebody else have a chance to chat with us. We'll do that for about 20 to 30 minutes, and then we'll get started sewing. So this is a great time for you, by the way, if you've ever wanted to talk to Monique or you wanted to talk to her about her fabric or her box, this is a great time to do that. And Monique, did you talk about the vacancies in the box?
Yes, we have 10 vacancies, and you can sign up, and then if it's full, we'll put you on the waiting list, and we get cancellations for various reasons. So eventually we'll be able to get you in. So just so you know, but I have absolutely 0 of these boxes left. None.
I wonder
So,
why.
I had a few extra, and my subscribers were, I want one for my daughter. I want one for my sister. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, I have none, which is unfortunate, but I do have a giveaway, and it is the Notion roll up, and it's in the blue version. So we need to do that too as well, Becca.
Yep. I'm going to set that up right now. So if you guys just give us a minute, we're going to set up the giveaway bot so that the roll-up giveaway, is that what it's called? Notion roll-up?
Yep. Kind of like fruit roll-up, but Notion.
So we're going to set that for about 20 minutes. That'll give, maybe we'll do 25 because that's what I just hovered over. That'll give us time to do the Q&A for about 25 minutes. Then we'll pick a winner. Monique is probably not sticking around while we sew, so she's going to excuse herself for the evening, and Fallon and I are going to get into tonight's project. So let's start the giveaway. You can enter for a chance to win that Notion roll-up in blue from Open Gate Quilts by doing !raffle in the chat. That'll get you a ticket. Even if it says you didn't get a ticket or you didn't see it giving you a ticket, you got a ticket. So just be patient. Once you do that !raffle, you'll get your ticket. In about 25 minutes, we'll pull a winner. And whoever wins this lovely project is going to have to email Monique, and she will make sure it gets mailed out to you.
Perfect.
And also, live in the Facebook group is now, and we have this lockdown because I don't want to put it out there for folks that aren't part of the Facebook group. I want to keep it to just us. There is a link in the Facebook group now for a live Q&A Zoom call. So if you are interested in hopping on and chatting with me, Monique, or Fallon for just a minute or two, feel free to go over to Facebook, click on that link, and it'll ask you you'll get pulled in here. You'll be in a waiting room until I bring you in. So just make sure that you are aware of that. Couple of things about that. If you do this, make sure that when you join the Zoom call, you turn off your audio and you turn off the video, and you just pay attention to the Zoom screen. Don't look at yourself or listen to yourself on the video, just like when you call a radio station. You're going to be on a delay. The video that is played out for the world is about a minute behind what's actually happening to us in real life. So make sure you're doing that. And if nobody joins, that's okay. We'll just sit here and talk, and then we'll get started sewing.
There you go.
Entertaining.
Oh, goodness. Mom's offering to entertain. I hope somebody joins.
Stop picking on your mom.
Did you mention the quilts behind you yet?
Oh, yeah.
I did not. These are, I'm going to have, he's like, I can't see. All right, let's see where we can do it. These two are quilts that I'm doing the sew along for. So this, we just did our third on last night, and we started putting it together. You can check out my Facebook page, Open Gate Quilts, and the videos are on there, so you can always catch up. This one is the pink purple version that is on the cover of the pattern. Let's see if I have a pattern here so I can show you. Here's the pattern, and you can get this free on Maywood Studios website. You just go on to maywoodstudio.com, and Mark's going to put that link in there for that. And you can just download it for free. You can sew along with us. Different places have kits. I am out, but you can always go online and check. There's kits out there, or you can choose your own if you want to do something different. But what's so fun about these two quilts is they look very different, but I love the way that the orangey yellows go into the pinks and up to the purples. And then this one looks like more of the night sky, where this one looks more like a sunrise or sunset. So it's just really fun to see. And it's very simple, half square triangles, but I do go over some tips and stuff when I in my tutorials. So that's what those quilts are.
That is a free sew along that you can do with the Dusted On batik fabrics that she's got. I forgot that I had ordered one of these kits from my wholesaler. Is that you?
What?
Nancy's iPhone? You didn't join the Zoom, did you?
No.
Okay. I just needed to make sure that wasn't Mom trying to be in the Zoom, because we were going to have audio issues if it was. Different Nancy. Okay, we've got people starting to come into the waiting room, so we'll bring them in.
Okay.
The one thing that I wanted to say is I bought the kit in that purple, pinky, yellow, because to me it looked like a sunrise, and I loved it, and I was like, okay, yes. But then I saw it in the blue colorway, and oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. So I know I'm doing the one on Monique's right, but I'm interested. Fallon, what colorway are you doing?
So I just got it in the mail today. I'm so excited. So I have the same as you. I want the blue as well too. So I'm like, I don't know, since I have the pattern, I may just get the fabrics in the blue too. And just, the fabric is so beautiful. I mean,
Well, thank you. Well, and the nice thing is it's not a huge quilt, and it goes pretty quick. And, doing two, I've done, I think, 3 or 4 as gifts, just because they do go quick, but they're so cool the way the color gradiates from light to dark. It's just fun.
Yep. All right, ladies, we're going to bring Nancy in, so let's see if we can get her on screen with us. So I just hit the admit button. She'll be popping up here in a second. Hopefully audio and video all work okay. Hi, Nancy. She's connecting to audio. I did this last time too. Oh, she did not connect to audio. Can you hear us, Nancy?
Hi, Nancy.
Try again. Are you connected to audio? It says you didn't connect. We'll give her a minute and see if she
So I guess they weren't saying hi to me, huh?
No, they weren't saying hi to you. They're saying hi to Nancy. Nancy's phone joined us, but she cannot hear us. So we are talking to her, and she is looking at us.
In limbo.
It looks like it's connecting.
There you are. Hi, Nancy. How are you?
Hi, Nancy.
Looks like you're muted. I just asked you. There you go. Can you try saying something? There we go.
There we go. Yay.
Nancy, how are you doing tonight? How are you doing tonight, Nancy?
Oh, very well. Thank you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, great. Great.
Yeah, we can see you. We can hear you. What are you working on tonight?
Pat Sloan's Sweet Dreams.
Oh, wonderful. I have been following Pat Sloan's videos a little bit closer lately. She's been popping up in my suggested feed a whole lot, and I'm liking what I see. I haven't done anything yet, but I'm excited to see some of the stuff that she's putting out there.
The blocks are very interesting.
Oh, I have to take that back. I actually did do a sew along with Pat Sloan, like the first year I started quilting. She's the one that taught me how to do a churn dash. Now that you mention it, I did do a sew along with her once. Yeah. So do you have any questions that we can answer for you, or do you just want to say hi?
Just lurking. Just saying hi.
No, you're completely okay. It's so fun to see faces with names, because a lot of times we just see the YouTube names, so we don't know who people are. But I know your first name's Nancy. Which Nancy are you?
Yeah.
Do you remember what your name in the YouTube chat looks like?
No.
Okay. That's truthful. That's honest.
But we'll just call her Nancy. That's it. We all know who Nancy, not Mama Nancy, Nancy.
We were worried because my mom's sitting right there, and I saw Nancy's iPhone joined the lobby, and I was like, well, this is going to be interesting. Mom, did you join the lobby? Do you want to be on camera so badly that you're going to cause the stop and ask her, was that you? And she's like, no, that wasn't me. So I was like, okay, then we can answer this call.
Okay.
Well, it's been nice talking to you, Nancy.
Hey, Nancy.
Thank you.
Thank you
I'm
for
new to
joining
this,
us.
y'all. New.
You're
Very
fine.
new.
Totally fine. Totally fine. You got past the most difficult part, which was deciding that you wanted to be in front of the camera. And then the second most difficult part is just making sure you connect to audio. You did them both, so you win.
Okay.
Gallery. All right, Nancy, we'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I get out?
Here, I'll take it for you. She figured it out.
I feel that because me and technology are like, oh, sometimes.
It's interesting. You know, I know we've got a couple of folks lurking in the chat. There's actually nobody in the waiting room right now. We've still got about 15 minutes, but Natalie said, and she had clothing on, which is another win. Zoom if you don't have clothes on. Just don't.
Don't give anyone ideas.
She probably did. Now we're going to get the flash buy. Thanks. Which is why we don't put the link in the live chat.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you
Yeah,
drink?
the spammers have been out in full force on my channel. I'm like, it seems like it just happens every now and then where you get in the comments just a whole bunch.
Yeah. It's a whole thing. So I don't even know what to say about any of that. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't, and I don't ever seem to have any rhyme or reason for why sometimes it's there. And what she's talking about is actually the inappropriate comments about things that you don't really want to do with other people online. Because anyway, inappropriate comments. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah, there we go.
That's why you have to put that link in your Facebook group.
That's right. Unfortunately, if you're not in Facebook, you won't see it. So, folks are asking, what are we working on tonight? So I will show you the project that we're going to do again. We are going to work on the Notions roll-up. This is what the project will look like when it's done. Do you actually have your sample handy, Monique?
Right here.
Oh, I know exactly how to make this because I have made it before and I love it.
Like, you haven't made it in Dust to Dawn, however.
And this one will be my favorite. It's okay.
These are great gifts too, so you can make a bunch of them. I also suggest if you want to use your makeup brushes, put them in there, or your makeup, or your stuff when you're traveling. It'd be perfect because then it just rolls up.
Yep. Or if you are a new crocheteer and you want something to put your crocheteer needles in, you can.
Oh, perfect. And if you wanted to make it a bit bigger, you could put knitting needles in too. That's kind of where I got the idea of it. Would be great, for knitting needles, crochet, any kind of crafts that have those kind of things. So, and I have you do whatever size that you think you're going to use for your notions. So
Right. There you go.
and then you get the stripe.
I have made these for my mom before, and I think I made the width like 1.25 inches, 1.5 inches. Maybe it was an inch. So that her hooks would slide down in there. I might make mine 1.5 inches because that'll accommodate some wider hookers, some thicker hookers.
Well, and then you can also, like I said, you can put your rotary cutter in, your scissors in.
Yep.
And if, for crocheting, you also need these kind of things too. So you could just make it whatever size you want to make it. So
Absolutely. I will be making several of these because they're gorgeous and I don't know why I need them all, but I feel like I do. So I will.
Because we love stuff like that, these little gadget bags, and
Kay said that she
love our gadgets. That's why.
love my gadgets. I do. Kay said that she would use it for colored pencils for her adult coloring book.
There you go.
Perfect. Absolutely. There's a lot of ways you can use them. So yeah, it's a nice thing.
Laura Miller actually has a question for you in the chat. She
Yes.
says, Monique, how do you decide what will go in your boxes? Do you design first or see what can be ordered and received at first and then design? What's your process?
Well, actually, it's both ways. Recently, getting fabric has been slightly difficult because it's been delayed. So I'll see a fabric and I'll design a project, but then maybe I think it's going to be for March, but then it doesn't come in till May. So then it has to be for the next month, so June. So I'm doing a lot of scrambling. I do a lot of inspiration from fabric. So when I see fabric that I really like and that I think I could come up with a project, then I'll order the fabric and design from there. It's, for the smaller projects, because you can almost use anything. You don't have to use this stripe. You could just use a pretty print. Those I will design and then do the fabric after. But the main project is where I come up with all the different fabrics that I come with the fabric and then the design. So
Awesome. We've got a couple other comments in the chat. The first one that I'll read is from Mary Kubasek. She said, I like to make a flap on the top so that things don't fall out. That's a great idea.
That's a really
perfect.
good idea.
Perfect.
Helpful. I know that from experience.
That's what you can use your extra fat corner for.
You know what? You're right. I could, because it goes perfectly with this, almost like it's from the same line.
Imagine that.
I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to build it, but I'm going to build a flap into the seam that kind of comes over. So I'll have to think through how I'm going to do that, and we'll figure it out on the fly as we go.
Well, another thing too is when I made this, the first one, I did not put any interfacing in it. So it's a lot floppier. So the second one I made, I put the interfacing in. And so if you have an extra piece of interfacing, Becca, that would help so that it'll stay down better.
The other thing that we could do is I could use the interfacing on the flap, and I could just use some scrap batting to quilt it to
Perfect.
make. That's what I've done in the past. Is I've basically built out the body, and maybe I stray a little bit from this and build it out with my own instructions. But I just grab scrap batting, very thin batting, and I just do like very minimal quilting on it, just enough to hold the batting in. And then I could use this interfacing for the flap, so it's a little bit weighted, a little bit stiffer, and it stays in place.
That's perfect. And you can also use a fusible batting too, so that you don't really even need to quilt it.
That's a great idea. I've got a whole roll of it on the shelf right behind me, so that's probably what I'll use.
Yeah.
There's a gentleman in the chat that wants to know, Monique, is there a sculpture in a park with one of her blocks? The guy's name's Mark Jacobs. I've never seen him before.
That could be.
Mark Jacobs is her husband. There must be a story. What's the story?
Okay. So for many years, I would teach in the Thumb of Michigan. Is everybody familiar with the Thumb of Michigan? I want to see, make sure. Yeah. I have a dear friend that lives up there, and I would go up there, and I would do a retreat every year. And one year they were putting quilt blocks, and my friend Gail said, do you have a quilt block that you identify with? And I said, well, I really like the wine and cheese block, which is the block that is actually in the park. And so she's like, okay. So she had them put the quilt block in the park, brought me there to surprise me. Aww. It was just so touching. It was just awesome. And yeah, it's just really cool to have own, and it's huge. So yeah, my own block in a park in Elkton, Michigan, in the Thumb.
Ask you, that was my next question. Where in the Thumb? So,
Elkton. Are you familiar with the Thumb?
I grew up in Detroit, so yes.
Oh, no way, Becca. I lived in Grosse Pointe Farms for a while.
I grew up downriver. I
Really?
lived in 30. Yep, I grew up downriver. I went to school in Taylor, and after I graduated from high school, I moved to Dearborn Heights, and I lived there for several years before I moved to Virginia.
Oh, wow.
Mark grew up in Huntington Woods.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I said Mark grew up in Huntington Woods.
Oh, see, there you go. Get along.
Small world, right?
Hey, I've got Grace in the waiting room, so we're going to bring her in and see if she has any questions for us. So I just clicked the admit button, and hopefully she hasn't been waiting. She's been waiting for a minute, so let's see if she connects. We'll give her a moment. There's no video, no audio from her end yet, so maybe she gave up. We'll see. Oh, there's Grace.
She's waiting.
She's still muted. Oh, I'm sorry. Tried. Oh, we keep doing it at the same time. One more time, Grace. I won't touch it. I won't touch it. I won't touch it.
Okay.
There you go. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Fine.
Grace.
How's everybody? Hi.
Wow. What are you working on tonight, Grace?
Well, I just finished making dinner. So I
Dinner.
haven't, but I had a question, and it's maybe, a little. I have a Juki, and I'm having the hardest time getting the needle to stay in.
Okay.
I tighten it, and it keeps falling out.
Are you, when you put the needle in, you're turning it sideways, right? So the eye of the needle is pointed to the side? Okay. I would make sure that it's pushed all the way in and that you're not just hand tightening in it, but you're using the tool that they gave you. And if that's still not working and the needle's still falling out, I would contact the dealer that you bought it from. And if you... Yeah, I was gonna say, if you don't know who it is or you got it off Amazon, call because I'm sure they can help you. They're still, I think they're still open right now. I think they're open like right now if you call their store or text them. They'll help you. Just be like, hey, listen, my needle keeps falling out. I've tightened it. I think I have the needle in the right position. And if you absolutely need to, somebody will hop on a FaceTime call with you or they'll ask you to send a picture or something. That's what I did with my long arm. I had like 3 calls with them over FaceTime and they solved every one of my problems. So that's what I would recommend.
Right.
The other thing is try different needles. You could have a needle that is bent or it's not correct. So you could try that and see if that works too. You might even have to get a whole new package because sometimes they're all done the same way. So that might be something to try before you go any further. But that's, a suggestion as well.
Right. Yeah, because it's a package that came with the, when I got the sewing machine. And so it's a new one that I was trying to put in and it just kept falling out. So
yeah, that's frustrating.
So I've been able to do any sewing for a while.
Brenda said that she has trouble getting the needle to go in her Juki as well. And so she uses a mirror to see where the hole is at to make sure everything's lined up. So that might be a good tip too.
Like a little compact.
Like a little...
I took my iPhone and took a picture of it. Says, is there a hole in there? So, no, there's a hole.
Yes, there is, but it is hard to see.
Yeah.
I could. Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. You'd have to get down there. So maybe if you can get like a compact mirror and maybe a nice big flashlight, that might help.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, I appreciate that.
Yeah, not a problem. Gosh, I hope it works for you. Let us know in the chat if you're able to get the needle.
I will. Love your fabric.
Thank you.
Love the fabric back there.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. Thank you. Nice.
We'll talk to you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, Memoirs of a Long Arm Quilter told her to check out the Juki Junkies group.
Oh, that's a good idea. I heard they're really helpful in there.
Yeah, so maybe she'll see that in the chat. Maybe that'll be something that she can check out. So that's awesome. All right, so we have got about 5-ish minutes before the raffle ends, and there's not anybody else in the lobby. That's the word. I didn't think. I could not think. My head was not working. My brain is not there. Like, I'm just saying, it's just not working.
Welcome to old.
He's not old. Don't say that.
No, listen, this is my, but this has been my real struggle for the past however long Mom's been here, because I can't even think now. But she's trying to work on her memory a little bit, but she's so used to, I think, she's so used to people not being around her that she doesn't remember what she said or what she talked about, because normally it's just her and Rick and they just do whatever. So the other day she's sitting in the front room and she was like, "Are you working from home?" I think maybe I told you guys a story. She was like, "Are you working from home today?" Well, let me back up. I walked in the front room and I said, "I'm working from home today, so I'll be home all day," and I'm in my pajamas, and I went and got coffee, and I went to change clothes so I had appropriate work attire on, and I came in and sat in my office, and I leave the office and I go back in the front room and I walk past her. This is 2 minutes later, maybe 5. And she said, "Are you working from home today?" I said, "Yeah." And she was like, I was like, "We talked about this already." She said, "Well, what did you say? I don't remember how you answered that." I was like, "I didn't answer it." And she was like, "What?" I was like, "I told you. I started the conversation." She was like, "Well, I didn't hear you." I was like, "You responded. We had a whole dialogue." She was like, "Oh yeah, now I remember." I don't think it's anything bad. It's just, she's not used to seeing me, and we're just, I think she's just looking for things to talk about, and she's like, "Oh, okay." So I actually I don't know if I ever told you this, Mom, but I had a guy that I dated in high school, and his grandma would repeat herself all the time. And we would go over to her house so he could take care of her lawn and do some things for her around the home. And while we were there, I would sit on the couch and visit with her. And this lady, sweet as could be, would repeat the same story about these 2 little birds that she used to have every single time. And all I remember from the story of the birds is that the one bird, she had a bird that had 2 cage, like it was a cage that was split, and the one bird that stayed on top would come out and go down to visit the friend bird in the bottom cage. That's all I remembered. That's all I remember from that story, but anyway.
After hearing it multiple times, don't you ever talk about me.
Oh, I repeat myself too, so like I can't even be like, she's getting all of her memories going. No, I do the same thing, because I what it is for me, and I don't know if this is it for you, and I have to slow my brain down, but what it is for me is I'm already thinking about the next thing while I'm having a conversation with you. And so I have had to take a lot, I work very hard on active listening, which is a whole skill set. When somebody's talking to you, trying to listen to what they're saying and not jumping ahead to form your next thought. Because otherwise you're not really listening to them.
My brain never shuts off. That's the problem.
You got to learn how to turn it off. That's what I have to do. Okay, so that's...
Can I leave now?
You can leave now. If you want to leave now, leave now. Go put your feet up. It is 9:00. The raffle is closed. Everybody that has a ticket has got a ticket. And ain't nobody getting a ticket now, because ticket's closed. So are you ready, Monique, to pull our winner and see who won that lovely kit? And then Fallon, we'll get ready to sew. What do you think?
Oh,
That sounds good. Now, are you going to pull the winner? Because I don't know how.
Actually, I'm not going to. The bot is going to pull the winner.
There you go. Yes, the bot is ready.
So just like last time, when I pull a winner, it's going to tag the person that won in the chat. Now, before I pull the winner, I want to make sure that you understand the rules of how this works. You have to be here on the live stream to get a ticket, and you have to be here when the bot calls your name in order to win. So the way we make sure that you are still here and you acknowledge that you have won the prize is once the bot selects the winner, if you are the winner that the bot has selected, about a minute or 2, maybe 3 if we're being generous, just to say something in the chat. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Yay. It doesn't matter what you say. Just acknowledge that you are still here and that you see that you won. And then if you did that, the next step will be for you to email Monique and Mark and all their information is on their website. You can do exclamation Open Gate Quilt in the chat, and it'll give you all their information. Email them, give them your shipping address, and Monique will get that out in the mail to you as soon as possible. I am not involved in this in any way. YouTube is not involved in this in any way. So please work directly with Open Gate Quilts to claim your prize.
Exactly.
I think that's everything. Did I miss anything?
I think you got it.
Okay. If after 2 or 3 minutes nobody claims it, like they've left, they've abandoned the chat, then we'll pick a new name. So let's get ready. Let's get a drum roll. Our winner is Cindy Spivey. So we are going to just give the chat bot a minute. It does tag me eventually on the screen that I'm looking at just to make sure that I see her. So we're going to give it a second to see if she says something in the live chat.
Congratulations, Cindy.
Quick question.
Yes.
What skill level are your subscription maxes?
I would say advanced beginner. So the skill level for the subscription box was a question, and I say advanced beginner. What I try to do is with the Notion, I try to give you a new skill or a new tool to use so that you can use it in and learn how to use it. So that's kind of what I do with that. So I would say advanced beginner. Would you agree, Becca and Fallon?
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. And I think the nice thing is too, is that I know Becca a lot of the time does, the small project on her lives. And sometimes I do a walkthrough of mine. You have some of the videos too, as well as a walkthrough. So you're going to have so much support with them.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah. And I also have a Facebook page, that a group that you can join and you can ask questions. So if you're in the subscription box, it's Open Gate Quilt subscription box. You can join that and you can ask questions there. And I look at it every day to see if there's anything. I'm going to post the pictures of the quilting because that's something people are often asking me, how do you quilt your samples? So I'll post that kind of thing. And that's a great way to ask questions as well.
Awesome. So Cindy is actually in the chat. I see that she commented, she's claimed. So Cindy, it is now your responsibility to reach out to Open Gate Quilts through email. Let them know where you would like your prize sent, and they will get that out in the mail to you. And while we are wrapping that up, I am pressing my fabric because I am ready to make my roll up.
Yeah, like I said, I started the wall hanging right away, and I've been like purposely waiting, and I'm like, I want to get this project done. This fabric is just so beautiful. I want to see it all put together. I have it pressed. I was like prepping earlier. I'm like, it's soon today.
One more day.
I can do it. Well, I will then take off. Thank you so much for having me tonight. And it was awesome chatting with both you ladies and everybody else. And we'll see you next month, right?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. And you guys don't forget that Monique is doing a sew along with her Dusk to Dawn fabrics. Both Fallon and I are doing those quilts as well, but we are not doing video tutorials on our channels. I am going to try my best to put some behind the scenes videos or pictures either via shorts or Instagram or maybe vlog videos here on my channel as I'm working through it, just to show you how my progress is going. So stay tuned for those. But if you want to do that, it's a free sew along. Just get your hands on a kit or some of the fabric in the free pattern, and you can find all those videos over on Open Gate Quilt's Facebook page.
Yeah, and we have 10 spots left for the subscription box. So first come, first serve. And if you get in there, you can get your next box. So
I bet after them seeing this one, they're already gone, Monique.
Yeah.
Those last spots are gone, long gone.
All right. Well, Monique, we'll see you next month. Thank you so much for this beautiful fabric. I can't wait to put my roll up.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Bye.
Thank you, Monique.
So, Fallon, did I hear you correctly when you said that all of your fabric was prepped? Everything's ironed, starched? No?
I'm telling you, I was like, as soon as I got up, I was like, yes, it's finally the day.
Today's the day! Oh, my.
I have it I even put the interfacing on because I was like, wasn't sure how I would set up my iron and everything in this space because this is not my normal setup at all.
Okay. That makes sense. I would do the same thing too, but I have to be silly and not open my box until I do it live on YouTube. So here I be, pressing my fabric and whiling things away. Are you going to follow the instructions that she put in the kit for this? Or
I think you're going to do the flap right, so I think I'll just do it right as it is, and so they can see it that way, and then you can do your add-on. I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I'm going to follow the same instructions that you have. Where I'm going to differ a little bit is I'm going to use my extra fat quarter to cut another strip that's the size of the bottom. And I'm going to do a front and a back and sew them right. I'm going to put interfacing on one side and then sew them right sides together and then flip it out so I have a nice finished edge. And that'll be kind of a flap that just goes over my tools. But in the body of my roll up, and you'll see this as we get there, I'm going to put some fusible batting instead of interfacing. So I'm going to take the interfacing for the flap and I'm going to put fusible batting in the body of the roll up. Have you had a chance to look at the instructions, Fallon?
I have, and I was like, I love her instructions, first of all, because she always includes all of the photos and everything, but I looked through it. Everything was cut to size, just so you know, so that was nice. She did say to check to make sure they were all right, just in case, because things happen, but mine were all pretty good. So I trimmed one just a little bit, but that made it so easy. I was like, oh, I don't really have to prep anything except iron it.
Yeah, I'm not even going to test it. I'm not even going to try to measure it. I'm just going to go with, I guess I kind of have to if I'm going to cut down my fat quarter. Do we know which piece is going to be, are they all supposed to be the same size?
So they were all the same size except the pocket fabric was just a little bit different, but I don't think the difference would matter that much, honestly, because I don't want to give away the sizing, but
don't do that. You're fine. I'm just looking right now. I'm trying to buy a little bit of time to see how I cut my fat quarter, so just give me a second. Okay. So I'm not going to give you the sizes that she uses. However, if you do look online somewhere, you can usually find one of these patterns for free. And I actually even went through how to make a larger version of this in a previous live stream. So you could find, I don't remember what I called it, but I did something very similar to this in a much larger size with a couple of fat quarters. So totally feasible. So I think what I'm going to do is just grab my fat quarter, and if I fold it in half, I should be able to just lay this fabric right on top, and I can take a straight edge ruler to trim everything, like trim up the fat quarter to get two pieces the same size as the rest. It's going to be a little bit wasteful if I do it right there, so let me do it over here a little bit. That should work. Okay, I'm going to cut this, and then we'll get started. You got your interfacing on and everything already?
I do. I'm telling you, I was like so excited when I saw this fabric. I knew it was coming because she had mentioned that it was, but to see it in the projects, it's so different, and to see it in person because the fabric it's so beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I have a fat quarter bundle of this. I have a couple of jelly rolls of this now. I have the main project and the small project of this. Now I have the Dusk to Dawn kit. I feel like I am bleeding Dusk to Dawn fabric right now. And
beautiful.
It is. I texted the guys over at a while ago when I first saw this, and everybody went crazy about it on the live stream. And I was like, hey, listen, folks are clamoring for this new line that's coming out. You need to get your hands on it. And I don't know if they ever did. Nothing wrong if they didn't. I just don't know if they did. But I do have a friend who has a very small quilt shop in Florida, and she saw it and fell in love with it. And she only orders stuff for her shop that she absolutely loves, because she takes a yard or two off of every bolt before she puts it in her shop. So she ordered pre-cuts of this, and I don't know if they're in yet or not, but if you want any of that information, I'll put it in my Facebook group, but I'm not gonna get into it here. All right, I have my fabric cut. The next thing that I'm going to do is put my interfacing on so I can get caught up with Fallon. So what I need to decide, actually there is no decision to be made really. This orange, pinky, whatever, these are, I'm going to give you guys the close-up view. This is what I'm going to be using for my flap. And, you know, it's a batik, so we all know that with batik there is no wrong side really, but there really is. We just won't talk about that.
Unless it's the one with the gold. There's some that have the gold on it.
Yep.
So then you just decide if you want to see the gold or not.
Yep, and I think I'm going to leave it so I can see the gold. I'm going to put this Craft Fuse interfacing on one side of the batik. And by the way, if you are curious, I will tell you what hold on. What's going on? I have no idea. I'm not going to get into it right now because, all right, so we've got the fabric here, and I know people have been like, there is no wrong side to a batik, and I just want to walk you through this since we're working with batik fabrics tonight. If you look at a batik fabric, when you look at both sides of it, they look pretty darn similar, and the reality is if you sew it in backwards, people really aren't going to know because the way the fabric is made, the dye seeps through from the front to the back, and so you can see it on both ends. And when they seal it to create the print pattern on here, it's a whole thing, that protects both the front and back as well. And that's why you can see the pattern on both sides and stuff. It's only when they start adding extra accents, like this piece here, they've put a metallic gold on it. They've only put that on one side. So obviously this piece has a right side and a wrong side. What I was going to show you in the world of batiks, when you're looking at a batik fabric, there usually is a side that is, well, there always is a side that is right side up, and sometimes the color variation can help clue you in to which side is right side up. So when I look at this cut piece of batik, I'm looking right here where all this pink and all these little pieces are, and when I flip it over, I feel like the contrast and the color is better on this side than this side. Same thing when I'm looking over here. I've got all these swirls in pink against the yellow. And if I flip it over, they don't look like they saturated through to the back as much. And so for that, in that case, I'm going to use this side as my side up. The back side is not as vibrant as the top side. That said, if I worked with this side, would anybody know? Absolutely not. So don't stress about it. There is a right side to batiks, but don't kill your brain. Does that make sense? I hope so. Are you still there, Fallon?
I am, yeah.
I was like, did my microphone die? All right, here we go. I'm going to fuse this on and hope that I don't get glue all over my mat like I did last time I played with glue and an iron on a live stream. I'm not doing...
I did some ironing. Well, I guess not the last time because I just did this one, but the time before I wasn't paying attention and I glued it right to my iron mat instead of the fabric.
Oh no! I had... over the summer, I'm going to grab a piece of scrap. This is actually a good scrap that I can use because it's just a selvage edge. I had over the Christmas season, I did a live stream where I was going to put together one of those no-sew snowflakes that you see like on shabby fabrics. And I thought that was going to be absolutely great, right? Well, let me tell you, that glue got the better of me and it got all over my mat and everything. So it did not work out well for me. 0 out of 10, would not recommend. All right, so there we go. That is now down. Ooh, this is giving it some really nice body, so that's awesome. Okay, now I'm going to, have you decided which one's going to be your border and which one's going to be your pocket? I think I'm going to do this as my pocket. and these is my body. What are you doing?
So I'm doing the pink with like kind of the stars as my pocket.
Okay.
And then the borders on the back of mine, and then the one with the little gold is going to be my lining.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to make this, I'm going to do these as my body, and I'm going to fold this in half along that edge to get the use out of her stripe as my pocket. So
I think
we'll
that'll look perfect.
Yeah, and I want good contrast on the inside. So I'm going to use the purple with the sparklies for the outside. This will be my lining, and this is going to be my pocket. So now that I know what that's going to be, I'm going to cut a piece of fusible fleece to put in the body of this, and then we'll get started. I feel like this is going to be done in like 10 minutes. What do you think?
I know, that's what when I was looking at it, I was like, this is going to be like a really quick, it'll be a really quick sew. But that's what I like about her smaller projects, though, is you just have a little bit of time to sew, you can get it done.
Yep. I always feel like with her boxes, I can always walk away from this with a finished project, just one. Even if I can never do the main project, I always have just one finished project that I could walk away from if I just sat down for like 20 minutes.
Yes. Yeah. That's why I love them, because sometimes you just need that quick time to decompress and sew. And when you grab this one, and they always have everything in it too.
Yep. And it's really nice when you don't have to, I don't even know where I was going to say, never mind. I was like,
That's where you're thinking ahead. You're thinking ahead.
not practicing that active listening right now. It's a problem.
I think that has to be like a trait with people who like to do art and kind of are creative, because you do that in your project, right? You're like, okay, what do I do next and all that. So you're always like 5 steps ahead.
Yep. Well, think about it. Like right when you're quilting, if you're doing free motion quilting, I'm gonna get something to put over top of this, because I learned my lesson. Even if it's just a scrap fat quarter. Hold on.
If you weren't thinking ahead right then, you would have gunked up your iron.
I probably would have been okay, but we're going to be safe. And I guess I could have just put one of the other pieces on. I don't know why I had to go get a whole new brand new fat quarter, but whatever. When you're think about how, like when you're free motion quilting, right? You're never actually looking at the stitches, just the stitches that you are putting into your quilting. You're always thinking about what your exit strategy is, where you're going to go next, what you're going to draw, what space you need to fill up, what's your exit strategy, where you're going to fill in, what you're going to draw. So you are always thinking a couple steps ahead. So yeah, I imagine if other crafts are like that, it would be the same thing.
Yeah, I think so. We'll blame it on that. We'll blame it on our creative minds.
Yeah. Creative minds. So this didn't really seem to fuse at all to my fabric. So I don't think it liked, I don't have the instructions for this. I think I need to press it from this side. So I'm just going to come in and apply heat to the fabric that is sitting directly on the bumpy side of this interfacing and see if that gives me better results. Sometimes you got to do it this way.
Yes. I will say the interfacing she provided fused really well. But on the wall hanging, I had a heck of a time with those little sun reflections. I had a heck of a time getting those to like the batik. Okay. So I did just use, and just if anybody else has the project and is struggling with getting it to fuse, I used some fabric glue to get them to stay in place before I got the quilting done on them. And that helps me a lot.
Okay, so, that's good to know. Did you do, talk to me about the applique. Did you do needle turn? Did you do the Jenny Doan fusible method? What did you do?
So I used the fusible, but it wasn't holding. So I haven't appliqued all of them yet because that wasn't going to be my plan, but I think I'm going to go through by hand and do it so that it doesn't go through to the back. And see if I can get that, get that done. If not, it'll just have to go through the back since it's a wall hanging. But yeah, it was, I don't know why is it fusing for you now?
Yeah. I just don't think it was getting enough heat to the glue.
Okay.
So, and the other one fused just fine. It was just this batting. Every batting is created differently. It just depends on what it needs, what temperature the glue actually needs to set into the fabric. So,
yeah.
It is fused on. So I officially have everything pressed and interfaced, and I am ready to go. So are you ready to go?
I am.
Let's do this, Fallon. Why don't you walk us through what the instructions say, because I have not read them yet.
So after you got your everything fused, we're going to work on the pocket. So I think we're folding it wrong sides together and pressing, and then just top stitching across that fold to get that pocket set up. So
yep. And actually, I need to take a step back for a minute because I'm making my flap. So
I want to get that fused.
Yeah, why don't you get your pocket ready to go, figure out where you're going to do everything. But what I'm going to do is put my flap right sides. Ooh, that didn't press there, but I'll give it another hot in a minute. I'm putting my fabric right sides together, and I am just looking for the vibrant sides together. And I am going to pick a side that I want to be my seam side. This long side is what I'm going to do. And I'm just going to stitch 1/4 of an inch all the way down. And then when that's done, I'm going to open it up, right? So that it looks like a normal quilt block would. I'm going to press this, and I'm going to roll the seam over and top stitch so that I have a nice finished seam to work with. So I'm going to do that while you continue to get started. If you want to get started, please don't let me hold you up. I can't believe how much stiffness this interfacing adds. This is great.
Yeah, I don't know if she said which one it is.
There's a paper.
But
There was a paper in here that told you what it is. I'll see if I can find it. It's great.
Yeah, it really is.
Oopsies. So 5,000 subscribers, huh?
I could not believe it. Because I kind of just, I started my channel for fun, for something for me to do when I started homeschooling my kids. And just something for me to do because homeschooling was not in our plan at all. And I was working, and I really enjoyed my job and where I worked. And I was like, I need something to do for me, and started it. And I mean, it's been a lot of fun. You meet so many fun people, chatting with them and sharing a love of quilting with them and sewing. And it's been a fun experience.
It's that's kind of the same story that I had. I just wanted something to do to allow me to share what I was learning about quilting and sewing with the world, even though I was pretty sure I felt like the whole world already knew all this stuff.
Yeah. Well, and that's the same for me. Is like I was like, I kind of wanted to share that it's okay to be comfortable with where you're at in your knowledge of quilting, and just to have fun with it, that it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to know everything, just have fun. And, if you make mistakes on your quilt, so be it. Nobody else is ever going to notice them. I'll show my husband my finished project, and I'm like, oh, but look, this happened. And he's like, yeah, I don't even see it, even though you're pointing it out.
With that though, because I taught my husband how to see when I had problems or when I missed a point or didn't do well, because I wanted him to appreciate when I did do really well. And
I love that.
yeah. So now he's like, oh, I see where you buried the point. Oh, this one's floating. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want you to go away. Get out of here. Get out of here. Nobody asked you. But it is super nice that he can appreciate what I'm doing. And so he also, now what he tries to do, because instead of just pointing out where I was wrong, he also points out where I did a really good job. And I'm like, thank you. That's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Yes, exactly. Because, they don't always understand how much effort it goes into just making all those points meet.
Yep.
Like, it's a lot. Everything has to be spot on for him to all come together nicely.
So let's talk a little bit about your channel. You originally had your channel name as Create Beauty Daily with Fallon. And then just recently you changed your channel name to SEWBECCA Quilts. Talk to us about the name change.
So when I started my channel, it wasn't just quilting. What I was going to do with it was more of reviews of different products. And if you go way far back, you'll see some of those videos. And it just wasn't speaking to me. Like I really enjoyed some of the videos that were more crafts that I did. And so I wanted to change it up to something that really was more enjoyable to me to do, to record, because I'm sure you know that if you're doing videos on stuff that don't really speak to you, that it feels more like work than a fun, hobby or experience like that. So the craft ones and everything I had a lot more fun with. So I decided to just focus more on quilting. And I was like, well, then the name doesn't fit as well. So I wanted to change it up. And I know it was really confusing. And I was like, man, I should have done a better job of posting about why I changed it. I put one video up, but still people were coming on and they're like, I didn't know who you were at first. And I'm like, I'm so sorry.
I kind of love the idea that you have the name Quilts in your channel now, because it speaks to me about what I expect to see at your channel. I saw your channel for a while. I feel like you did Vlogmas last year too, right?
Yeah.
You did the Jenny Doan box last year, and I low-key watched because I got it in 2018 and I missed the boat entirely in 2020.
I went so fast.
I didn't get one, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna hop over to this girl who's opening it and I'm gonna see what's in the 2020 box. And I think you had a couple others that you were doing too. So I was watching. I wanted to do Vlogmas in 2020, but I had COVID then, so there was no way that was happening. So I was living vicariously through you that year, and then I wasn't really sure what to expect. Like, it felt like your content was quilty during Vlogmas, but I wasn't sure if it was a quilting channel or what was going on. So I love that you've kind of locked it. This is what I want to do. This is what my niche is going to be. And I feel like, and maybe I'm speaking to some content creators that are out there watching right now, I feel like that's something that we all struggle with and we all go through, right? When you first start the channel, all you're trying to do is focus on getting people to watch and creating the content. And you're going to do all of the things for all of the content so that people will watch because you want them to come to the channel. But then you hit a point where you're like, okay, what is my niche going to be? Why am I creating content? What content am I creating? And then when you hit that stride, I think it makes things lock a little bit better. So that's my own personal story.
Well, and I think that because I changed my name and it all made more sense, I think that's when my channel really started to grow too, because I think a lot of people didn't know what to expect from the name. And I liked it. And a lot of people said, oh, I really loved your name. And I'm like, I did too, but I just didn't feel like it showed who I am and what I'm doing here. So
yeah, and Create Beauty Daily is a great motto. And it's a great channel name. There's nothing wrong with it. I think it's lovely. And there are many ways that you can create beauty. I will tell you, I thought it was a beauty channel. I thought it was makeup. Oh, this is going to be a makeup girl. And she's on the side. But there's nothing wrong with it. But I kind of love the idea that I love the idea that you're doing quilts. I will tell you, don't sell the name short. I don't think your name is the reason why people subscribe to your channel. I think they subscribe because they happen across your content, they like what they see, and they want to come back for more. And that's why they smash that subscribe button. So don't think it's just because you came up with a real channel name. It's because you're doing something that strikes a chord with the people that are watching. And that takes energy, talent, and effort. Don't sell yourself short there.
Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Now I'm going to cry.
I read the next instructions.
Yeah. So after we get our pocket and everything prepped, then we're going to attach it to the lining.
I'm sorry. Pocket prepped. Let me just, I have it folded in half. Let me do it.
I have mine folded, but I haven't sewn either.
I will tell you for my top stitch.
Let me know if my sewing machine gets too loud and then I can mute it while I sew.
Well, give it a couple stitches.
Is it too loud?
Keep going. I don't hear anything yet. You're fine.
Okay. It's hard for me to know how loud she's behaving today.
You are fine.
I emailed her and everything to get ready to make sure.
Well, also, Zoom has a feature where it turns down noises that it doesn't pick up as voice. So when we're streaming live through Zoom like this, one of the things that I really like about it is it reduces that background noise. So it makes it easier to sew with somebody else live and getting the video stream out to YouTube land. My only sad thing that I don't love about it is we have this black box around us when it's just the two of us. But, you know, as long as people can hear us and see us and the text working together, we can deal with that black box. All right.
They don't know how to orientate just two in there.
All right, so I have my pocket folded edge top stitch. And by the way, I don't know what you're doing, Fallon, but for the top stitching, I did set my stitch length to 3 just to give it a little more of like a handmade feel. So that's what I did. You don't have to, but that's what I did.
I usually lengthen my top stitch too.
Okay.
I just like the way it looks better. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so while you are doing that, I'm going to read some comments for you. Open Gate Quilt says Fallon is amazing, as are you, Becca. So, you know, Monique is still there telling you you're awesome. Nancy Robinson says, could you post Fallon's channel, please? Actually, you can do that yourself. So if you type exclamation Fallon, Fallon, in the chat, I forgot to tell you guys this earlier, it will give you a link directly to her YouTube channel, and then you can click on it, hop over there, watch the content. If you like what you see, subscribe. And if you don't, just quietly exit and keep your opinions to yourself. So, all right. Let's see. What else do we have? Marge says, I think all you ladies who make your own channels are so brave. No way I could do it. Yes, you could, but thank you. Somebody else said, Fallon, I enjoy your videos. I would not have subscribed if I didn't. Deb says, I agree. I've been watching Fallon for about 1.5 years, and I love her content. It's not about the name for me. It's about the person, the content. So
thank you. Thank you all so much.
Tiffany loves to watch you. Julie says, as a YouTube consumer, I definitely prefer channels with a focus. Yep. And Stephanie, Memoirs of a Long Arm Quilter, said, exactly, Becca. It's so hard to start a YouTube channel and finding your niche. It absolutely is. Marge says, love your channel, Fallon. I've been watching you whenever I see a new one. You are so very sweet. Oh my goodness.
Everyone is so, this is why it's so much fun doing this, because everybody is so kind and so nice and so encouraging.
It is. It's absolutely amazing. I love that we're able to connect with people through YouTube to do this. So this is great. Okay, I have got my pocket folded and stitched. I have got my flap, which is an extra step that Fallon doesn't have, ready, and I have my body ready. Talk to me about the next step, Fallon. What are we doing next?
So it looks like we are, where is it? Now I'm lost because I'm overwhelmed with everybody being so kind. So we are attaching the pocket onto the lining, and it looks like we're doing a scant 1/4 inch seam along both of the short ends to get it, attached to the lining so that it's held in place when we complete the rest of the steps.
Okay, so I'm going to give you my top down view so you can see what I'm doing here. I am taking, and tell me if I'm wrong here, Fallon. I'm taking my folded piece of fabric with the fold and the top stitched edge up on top of the fabric, and then the two pieces that are cut down towards the bottom. Is that how you have yours oriented too?
Yes,
is
it is perfect. Yep. And our lining is right side up so that we can see the beautiful design.
Yep. So we're going to stitch a scant 1/4 inch along these two outside edges. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, good. Let's do that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Get my mat out of the way. Nancy says, I just subscribed and I'm looking forward to your videos.
Well, thank you, Nancy.
I'm setting my stitch length back down to a 2.0. Oh man, I can't wait. Colleen said, every time I come to SEWBECCA, there are more wonderful people to follow. Thank you. You're welcome. You are so welcome. There are so many content creators out there. Everybody's doing their own thing. And quite honestly, if I were streaming by myself every Friday night, y'all would get bored of me because it would be the same thing all the time. So I'm glad that I have people that are willing to hang out with me.
I do not think anybody would get bored though.
Oh, well, you know what it is? When you're live streaming, you don't get that real feedback, so you don't really know if your jokes or your personality's hitting or falling flat, and I always worry that mine is falling flat, and that I get in my head a little bit too much.
I think for me, what would be hard is without someone with you, you're like talking to yourself kind of, instead of having someone to chat with. So that would be what would be hard for me. And my life, quite frankly, is boring. So I don't know what I would talk about. Like my kids homeschool. You guys went through school. You don't want to hear what they're doing. That's what my life is.
Well, sometimes it's therapeutic to get all that stuff out. So, all right. So we have got our pocket attached, and I am going to flip you back over to the overhead. So what I've got now is this little chef's hat. Oh, this could be a mask! Which I am so happy we are almost done with them, it feels like.
A new design for them.
It doesn't...
You can hold your notions in it while you walk around.
So what you should have is something that looks like a circle like this. You've got the two short edges attached. The bottom is wide open. The top is wide open. And you have a stitch edge right along here. I have a feeling that this is going to be hidden in our stitching. So I did not back stitch at the start or end of this because I think we're going to take care of that in the next couple of steps. So talk to me about what we're doing next, Fallon.
Okay, so we are going to get that ribbon that was provided to us. We're going to secure that in place on whatever fabric we're using as the kind of outside fabric. So for me, it was the one you're using as the pocket.
Mm-hmm. And for me, it is the purple with the gold sparkles.
So it says that we're going to place the fold of the ribbon. So fold it in half. Place the fold of the ribbon on the raw edge of the right side of the fabric that you're using, and kind of center it on one side and then sew it in place using a scant 1/4 inch seam. And you'll want the ribbon going in toward the center of your project. It looks like you know this story. Have you ever sewn it the wrong way before?
And then you have to pick the stitches and go dig, and that's why I know very well where to put it.
Because in my brain, I feel like it needs to be facing out. But I've learned that that's not how you do it.
So I've got mine folded in half, and it goes almost the whole length of this piece of fabric. And I'm going to go blah, 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 sew right over this. And when I do, I'm going to use my 2.0 stitch length, and I'm going to back stitch over this a couple of times, because what's going to happen is this is going to get a lot of tension. We're going to be tugging on this to tie things closed and wrap it around our little Notion roll up. So it, a few extra stitches don't hurt. I think I've heard Jean Truelove say, if once is great, then twice is better. So we're going to follow, if twice is better, then 4 times is amazing. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, this sucker is not coming out. Now, I also hope I don't have to rip those seams, because that's a lot.
You're not getting that out, I don't think.
And I know I'm going to be stitching on top of this again, because if we're using a scant quarter of an inch, I have a feeling I know which way she's going to make us do this. But I know that this is just going to help reinforce that. So we're going to keep that there. All right. So there's my outside. Here is my lining. Now, while you're getting your stuff ready, I'm going to start thinking for a minute, because I've got to find a way to build my flap. So I just want to play with this for a second. This is not how I'm going to sew it together, but I'm just thinking construction-wise, because this is not in the instructions. If I want this flap to come down, what I really want is for this solid folded edge to fold in. So what I need to do is kind of work it in here like that. Okay. So, okay. I think I know what we're going to do next. Can I guess?
Okay, let me move my stuff so I'm not giving you a cheat.
Okay. I think there are 2 ways that we could go here. The first way that we could do is we could assemble the thing right sides together and then flip it out and pillow turn. But I think what we should do next is to sew our lines on our pocket so that we have them spaced out. And the reason why I think I would do that next is because if I do that, then the stitching from my pockets won't show up on my lining. What does she say to do?
So on the instructions, you're correct. It has next to put them right sides together, so around a flip, and then do the pockets. And you're right, it would show through to the other side, which I think is fine either way. If I did it where I'm sewing the pockets on last, I would just make sure to pull my threads through and bury them in there so that you're not seeing like the ends of the threads and everything.
Okay.
I think either way would work well.
I'm going to do it my way. So I am going.
That's what's nice about these projects is you can make them your own easily.
I did it my way. So I am going to measure this, and I'm going to find. Actually, no, we're not going to measure it. We're going to fold this in half, and I'm going to find the center. So I'm just going to crease with my finger because I want all of my pockets to be 1 inch wide. So I'm going to just hand crease that. And then when it opens back up, I'm going to grab a water soluble, no, I'm not. I'm going to grab a Choco pen because this is dark fabric and my blue water soluble ink won't show up on this. And this is white chalk. So I'm going to find that crease and I'm going to measure 1/2 inch away from that crease. I gotta find the crease first. The crease don't want to play nice. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna put a chalk line on that crease so that I can see it better. Now I'm gonna measure 1/2 inch away from that and I'm gonna draw a chalked line right here. And then I'm going to do 1 inch away, chalk line, inch away, chalked line. And I am trying my best to line up my ruler on the top, on this flap, so that it's nice and straight. Hi, Teresa. Hello. How are you? And I'm just going to keep going 1 inch down because I feel like I'm going to be using this for my crochet needles. And 1 inch width is going to be really nice for those. I feel like 1 inch width for any type of Notion roll-up is generally pretty good for just about everything you're going to put in here.
Yeah, I think so. And that's a great tip for following, lining up a line across the top of that pocket just to make sure your lines are all straight when you go to sew.
Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to get this one down. It's going to be close to the edge. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave that and I'll figure out how to deal with it in the end. But I don't think I'm not going to worry about it. I could trim that edge to about 1/4 of an inch away from where the line is and reattach my pocket and all that other stuff. But I could also, of course, leave it. If I leave it, all that means is I'm just going to have a very slim, narrow pocket on either end, and I don't think that that really bothers me that much. I have made these so many times. I got to tell you, I have made much bigger, wider versions of these for friends, for my family. I've made one for my mom. I made one for my sister. They both crochet, and they love them and keep all of their hookers in them. And yes, I know I'm saying hookers because I think it's funny.
I think what's nice is once you know how to make one size, just adjusting it for other sizes would be really easy. I think I could see when my kids were younger doing one of these for their crayons for when you go to a restaurant and you can put all their crayons in there and bring a little coloring book for them to color while you're sitting at the restaurant table.
Yep. You could, and maybe I will, maybe I won't. No, I won't because I've already started top stitching with this white thread that I have. But if I wanted to, I could grab that really pretty thread color that Monique gave us with our package to do my stitching for my lines here. And that would just be absolutely amazing. But I didn't. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine. This middle line right in here, I don't care about that so much. So we're going to ignore it, but all of the other lines that I drew, I'm going to stitch on them. I just want to make sure that I am, let me move my finger over. Every time I start, I'm going to back stitch over top of this a couple of times on my first stitches right at the top, because over time what's going to happen is I'm going to be pulling this away from the fabric a little bit to put my hookers in and out. And yes, I know hookers. It's hilarious. Anyway, anytime I want to check a hooker into the hotel here or pull them out, I don't want that tension to pull the fabric away. So if I back stitch on these lines, it's going to help reinforce the seam and keep it from falling apart as quickly. It won't fall apart sooner rather than later. It'll be later. Okay. Are you doing the same thing with are you doing your pockets now or are you waiting?
I think I'm going to do the pockets now because I do like the idea of leaving this beautiful fabric to just shine on there without the stitches.
Yep. I would say if you want to see the quilting on the other side, it'd be a different story. But with this one, because of the interfacing she gave us, you're not really quilting the notion roll up, so I wouldn't care. But if you're using batting for this, maybe you want those stitches to show on the other side. Just pull up that bobbin thread so it looks nice and neat.
So I don't know if you like to, but when I start stitching at the top of the pocket, I like to back stitch there as well, like you do. But I usually pull the thread to the back and tie it off again, just to make it extra secure.
I should have done that. I did not. I was actually just thinking about how my threads at the top don't look that neat. But oh well, it'll be fine.
It would stay in place either way. I started doing this because I like to make a lot of handbags, and that's what a lot of the patterns say to do on those, to secure them really good, since you're having the weight of all your belongings in them.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's like extra time though.
It does, but you know, sometimes that extra time can just putting in, like, oh, I went too far without back stitching. Just putting in that little bit of extra work can really make your project stand out a little bit. For me, this is for me, and nobody's going to look at the inside, and even when it's unrolled, I'm going to have that flap there, so it's going to be fine. Why are we getting... Okay, there we go. There we go. So now I have all of my pockets stitched, and I'm just going to take a couple of minutes to wipe off all of that white chalk. You can see it comes off really nice and cleanly, and I'm left with these little white lines, which are the perfect size for my hookers. Look at that. My hooker fit in it just nice. Real nice. Real nice. Real nice.
See, now I fell behind from doing all my little pulling it to the back and tying them.
That's completely okay. I will read some comments. You keep sewing and just listen to what they're saying in the chat. Linda Denton said, what is the name of your spray bottle? It is just a basic white mister that I bought, and I put a sticker that says SEWBECCA on it. Actually, I put 2 of them. My sister-in-law actually bought this from me from a local quilt shop that we visited at. I usually go in and visit them a little bit, once every so many weeks. I haven't been in a while. I need to go. But when I go, we always go to this quilt shop that we really like, and they had a white mister bottle. This was months ago, and the one I had was starting to leak and was broken, so she bought it for me. It was really nice of her. So, Cool Tessa said, Becca, you have crocheting and hookers? I do. You're welcome. Patty G. Oh, nope, we're not going to read what you guys are talking to everybody else. Let's just see what else we've got. Open Gate Quilt says, also, if you stitch the pockets last, it will keep the outside and inside together. Yep, okay, what she said. But we didn't. Sorry.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Yep. But I think it's going to be okay. Like, I feel like, so I'm gonna do this the way I do my other one. Apparently I can't talk. When I've put my other ones together, and you'll see this, once I put this together and we flip it around, sometimes I like to go in and do a little bit of free motion quilting on the inside lining above the pocket, which I guess would be this way for me, above the pocket. So if I'm using a panel or a piece of fabric that has an element on it that I just want to outline, for example, maybe I used a panel with an owl on it, I can just follow the outline of the owl above the pockets, and then it echoes it to the outside pocket, so you have some design there, and it's holding your pieces together. So that's personally what I do. Yeah, I feel like it's a little bit better than, I would rather see the pretty stitching. Now, if you are not interested in all that, don't do it. Follow the instructions the other way. Either way is fine. There's no wrong way to put this together. Sweetheart Creation said, I am working on a Bargello. I feel like I am pinning more than sewing. Did anyone else ever feel that way?
Yes.
I want to do a Bargello. I haven't done one yet.
Oh, I want to too.
Marge says, Fallon, you make the most wonderful handbags. You are so talented.
Oh, thank you. So Becca, do you like to just quilt, or do you sew clothes, or any other?
Clothes are a 4-letter word in my home.
I would love to know how, but I've tried and I cannot.
So my sewing journey, when I first started sewing, I didn't want to make a quilt. I didn't want to touch a quilt. I only wanted to do things that were practical. And I got really into Sew Sweetness and Swoon. Both of them make amazing bag patterns.
Yes. And they're so easy to follow.
They are. And Sarah Lawson from So Sweetness does video tutorials for a lot of her patterns as well. And she is just so easy to watch and listen to. And I just understand what she's saying. So I started turning out bags right away. I was like, I'm never buying a purse again. And it was funny because when I started sewing, I was a designer handbag girl. I always had a Coach or Michael Kors or something. Like I always had multiple designer bags. Now I don't. And the theory was that I was going to carry purses that I made, but the reality is that I just don't want to spend the money on the designer bag for my fabric. So, but yeah, it's I have made bags before. I have not made any recently, but I've been getting an itch to make a bag again, and I really would like to step up my game and do one with some leather or some cork.
Yeah, I bought some genuine leather to start making bags with, and it's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down when you start learning about all the different materials that you can use in bags. And I've really enjoyed it though. I've always been into quilting, but then on YouTube I'd see people making the bags and I was like, I need to do that now.
Yep.
So it's been about a year and a half, I think, that I started making handbags.
That's awesome. You know who else is really good to watch for making handbags is, well, probably good to watch for anything. If you guys haven't checked her out, I kind of have a little bit of I love her channel and I may stalk her channel, but you know Okla Roots, right? Jess from
yes, I watched.
I love her. Secretly, she doesn't know this, but secretly we're probably best friends because I'm like, oh, she sews and she loves Disney. We can be BFF. But she's great to watch and she has really good tutorials too.
Yes. I watch her a lot in Lauren Mormino.
Yes, that was the other one I was going to say. She's great too. Are you ready for your next step, Miss Fallon?
I am. Yep. I caught up with you.
Okay. So I got to think before I put this together. So as we said, I know things are going to be a little different for me because I need to do and maybe watch me because I get angrily challenged sometimes and I feel like I can mess this up really easily. So I want my flap up here to kind of fold down, right? So when this is put together, this is the look that I'm going for. I want my flap up here and I want it to fold down over top of this. But I feel like I need to attach it almost like I'm starting to get a little turned around. How do I attach this so that when it's sewn together, I don't see this edge? It's tucked down in between these two that are right side together. You know what I mean?
I do. But I'm trying to think. Because like I said, I'm the type of person that sews the ribbon on the wrong way because in my brain it needs to be out. So.
I think what I do, and you guys tell me in the chat if you think I'm wrong. I think what I'm going to do is lay my lining right side up. And then I'm going to lay my flap in between with the folded edge down inside and part of this flap kind of open and extended past. And then I'm going to take my exterior and make sure that the ribbon is in the middle and lay it right side down.
Yeah, because you need it to be a sandwich. So when you turn it,
right.
All comes together.
What I think I will likely have to do is stitch along here, and along here, and then over on this side, I'll probably leave my opening over here since the cord isn't there and whatever. Oh, you know what? That's not going to work either. This isn't going to work either. And here's why. And I'm thinking
the flap's going to be sewn in and not flap up.
Yep. So I need to trim this so it's not as wide.
See, that's why you have to talk through it. So you catch something.
So these are right now about the same size. So I'm just going to take off like a 1/2 inch on either side. See, we got to work our way through this. Maybe I'll even take a full inch because if it doesn't go the full width, it'll be okay. I'll just take a 1 inch off. and we'll see what happens. Okay, now I'm going to pull this back. I'm going to line this up. Yeah, that works. It covers. Okay, so, but I'm afraid that this might still get caught in the seam allowance. So I'm going to take another 1/2 inch off, and then I'm going to test and see how this lays over top of my pockets. Woo! Yep, that should work. So really what we're doing is we're just adding a little protective flap. It doesn't need to cover the entire width. We're just adding a weighted protective flap, and I want to make sure, this is what I'm talking about right here. Oh shoot, you know what?
A raw edge.
I do. Okay, we can fix that. Listen, this is all about learning the process tonight, right?
But
So,
now you will have this all figured out for someone who wants to do it.
yep, I have got plenty of extra here. So rather than picking this seam, I'm just going to trim it. I'm going to trim it down. I'm going to cut this away. I know this is wasteful. I'm wasting about a 1/2 inch of fabric on this, but that's fine. So now I've got two sides together, and I need to make a pocket that we turn pillowcase out. So I'm going to put them right sides together. I am going to sew around all 4 sides, leaving a piece down here to turn it out. Then I'm going to poke my corners, top stitch the one side down, and then I will have a flap that is finished on all 4 sides that I can work into this. I could, if I wanted to, actually, and maybe I will, since part of this is going to be in the seam anyway, I feel like I don't even need to do that here. Like, I feel like
you need to do 3 sides and
Yep.
then keep that top side open.
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to stitch around 3 sides, leave the top side open, and then we're going to come back, and I've actually got no interfacing over here, so I'm going to clean that edge up too. I am so sorry that I am taking a while to do this, by the way.
No, I think it's great because I think it'll give some people some ideas, because if they are wanting to do the hooks or the knitting needles in it, you do kind of want that flap so they don't all just slide out because they're kind of smaller.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, Tracy with the sewing channel is here in the chat, guys. Give her some love. Tracy, if you want to, anybody has a channel they want to share, whether it's theirs or someone that they follow, feel free to put it in the chat, and if you need help with that, our lovely moderators here tonight, I think we've got Teresa and Tiffany, will definitely help you get that channel out there. So, share away. Tracy said, I think you should do free motion quilting. I don't know if I have the right foot set up for this, so I will do something that I call free motion like, and I'll show you what that looks like when we get there. Ooh, my nose itches. Okay. Now I've got this great big edge down here. I'm going to reach in. I'm going to turn it right side out, so now my 3 edges are finished. And I'm going to bring my pressing mat back over, and I'm going to really iron that down. And then we'll assemble this together with my 3 layers and turn it right side out and do some quilting.
That fabric is just so pretty.
I can't get over it. Like, this is my unicorn fabric, I think. And it doesn't have to be my unicorn, because guess what? I've got so much of it. All right. I am just pressing the seams down. Why don't you go ahead and take on the next step? You don't have to wait for me. Go for it. I know you're
I'm learning right now, so I'm like
I felt bad. You're patiently watching, and I'm like, no, you can keep going. It's okay, girl.
No, because I sometimes I start thinking, I forget that I'm on with you. I feel like I'm just watching your channel like I often do when you're live. Just learning more.
Watching me make a fool of myself, yelling at the camera, the TV, you're doing it wrong. Stop it. All right, so I want to show you this really quick. I'm going to take my hooker, because this corner is rounded, and if I want that to be a really nice point, the way I can get it is to clip away the excess in that corner, and then if I take a blunt object, I can take it into that corner and really just kind of press and push in there, and that'll poke that corner to be as sharp of a point as I can get. Since I did not trim away the bulk in the corner, it's not going to be perfectly point, but I really just don't care if it's a little rounded. The purpose of this is just to show some pretty fabric inside the pocket, and you know, if the corners are a little rounded, it's okay. I am going to give these seams a quick heat press because I want this to lay a little bit flatter. I'm going to take it back to my sewing machine, and I'm going to edge stitch around these 3 finished edges. And that's going to help it all stay nice and tidy. And then I can put my stuff together. And because I said I did this earlier, edge stitching is going to be a 3.0 stitch just to make it look a little more special. I'm going to get down to this corner, and I'm going to pivot instead of going off of the edge. Since this is edge stitching, I want to look better. I will say the interfacing on this is making this edge stitching just look a whole lot nicer than if you were just edge stitching on like 2 pieces of fabric, you know?
Yeah, it really helps define those stitches better, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay, there we go. All right, all 3 of my edges are now edge stitched, and I have got my lining and my exterior, and now I think I'm ready to put this together. So here's what I'm doing, Fallon. Let's see if we line up. I'm going to put my lining right side up. You don't have the flap, but I do. And I am going to put it in here. Just help me remember if this was the right way. Man, this got so much shorter because I took some off the edges now. So my little hookers on the edge won't have a flap, but that's fine. I'm going to line this up so that the flap is coming down where I want it to cover. So it only has to be like, I have to make sure that I have some extending past this raw edge of fabric. But this is a great time to make sure that my flap is straight and it's covering whatever I want it to cover. So if I only want it to come down to the top of my pocket, I would position it that way. I'm going to center it where I want it to be, and then very carefully I'm going to take my exterior and lay it on top of this, and I'm going to line up the raw edges of the lining and the exterior. This is hanging off. This is totally because I don't want that excess. I could trim this if I wanted to. Maybe I should, maybe I will. In fact, I will, just to make my seam allowances a little bit better. So I'm going to put my ruler right along the raw edge for my exterior, and I'm going to sail through my flap. Now everything is the same size. So now we're at the same step. Are you ready?
I am. And if anybody wanted to make sure that the flap didn't shift around when they went to sew around, you could always just baste it in place just to make sure that if everything stays lined up for you.
Yep, absolutely. And I was actually just going to say you could grab some clips. For me, what I'm going to do is start with the top because then I'm holding it in place.
Yeah.
This is where I'm sewing. This is the only seam where my flap is going to be sewn into the inside. So I'm going to turn my stitch length back down to a 2. I'm going to start at the beginning of my flap. I am going to sew this with 1/4 inch, and I'm going to back stitch at the start and stop of, actually, no. I need to adjust, sorry. I am going to start on the side because I need to leave a pocket for opening. So I'm going to start here, back stitch. And now because I'm sewing these right sides together, I can sew off of the corner if I want to, instead of trying to pivot perfectly, and then just come back. All right, moment of truth, Fallon.
You're so brave doing that without any clips or pins or anything.
Well, I feel like because my machine is recessed down into my cabinet.
Yeah, you don't have anything pulling or.
Yeah, I don't have to really pick it up. I can just slide it over to the machine and do what I need to do. And so I'm pretty confident without pinning or clipping if I'm doing something small. But when I start getting into things that are heavy or bigger or unwieldy, then it's time to pull out the clips or the pins. Tracy said, Becca, I'm not sure if Fallon saw my post, but I wanted her to know that I enjoyed her collab with Chris from Sew the Distance. Why didn't you talk to us about that collab?
So me and Chris had actually done a collab before. I found her channel randomly when she was like, she had less than 100 subscribers, but wow. she does these lessons from an old quilt series that I absolutely fell in love with on her channel. And we actually started talking a lot and decided to do a collab together with layer cakes, and we had so much fun. So we did another one with another layer cake, the Anne of Green Gables line. Mm-hmm. And we each picked a different cake mix booklet to do with it. Neither of us actually ended up enjoying using the cake mix, but it was really fun because we would text each other and like, oh my gosh, pulling off all these papers is awful. It was fun though. It was fun to finally try them out because I've seen them for so long. But that's basically, we made a quilt using the cake mixes. I did the first cake mix book and she did number 5, and they both turned out really, really good. It was fun seeing the same line of fabric look so different because of the pattern. So that was a fun one. She's awesome. I don't know if you've watched her channel, but I love her lessons from an old quilt. They're my app. Whenever I see one go up, I get so excited.
I actually have. I feel like I've seen that happen, or I've seen the videos. I don't feel like, I know I have seen her videos. And it's really, I was going to tell you, it's really exciting to see channels collabing more and doing things together. Being more inclusive with the other folks that you're bringing on instead of just being you all the time, right?
Feeling like we're all doing very similar things, but we have a very different style. So instead of feeling like, oh, they're my competition, we can all lift each other up and
right.
Do this all together.
Yep,
give each other ideas, tips, and I think it's a lot more fun.
I agree. That way. All right, so I have clipped my corners. I snipped, and I reached into my pocket and I opened it up. So now mine is right side out, and oh my goodness, I am loving how great this looks. So we're gonna have to talk about the final stitching in just a minute, but before we do, I'm gonna give you the top down view because I'm gonna come in. Wow, this is taking a lot longer than I thought it would because we're figuring things out and modifying the pattern a little bit. I was like, man, we're not going to even be able to make it to 10. And I just looked up, it's 10:15. So I'm going to come in here. We're going to have the top down camera, and I'm just rolling my seams to get them to lay flat all the way around all 4 sides. Up here, I'm going to tug my flap, and I'm going to come in with an iron to make this lay. And there's 2 steps that I'm going to do for this. The first one is, 3 steps really. The first one is just getting these seams on the top, bottom, and side, the majority of them to lay down. The second thing that I'm going to do is grab my hooker. My hooker ran away. Here we go. I'm going to grab my hooker, and I'm going to go into the, oh gosh, I can't even say that. YouTube's going to flag me if I say that. I'm going to go inside the fabric, and I'm going to poke out these corners so they look a little more finished. They'll get a little bit more pointy than the interior flap did because I cut the corner. I trimmed the corner, trimmed the bulk. And for those of you wondering what I was going to say I got to go into the hole. And that just wasn't, I could imagine all of the YouTube flags later. Becca's talking about hookers and holes. This is my hooker. I'm just saying.
Grab my little turning tool to get in those corners.
Yep. All right, once I've poked out my corners, I'm going to give it another quick hot press. And then the third step that I'm going to do, which I find particularly helpful in the hooker hotel. Yep, these are the hooker rooms, and this is the hooker hotel. I actually love that. This is no longer my Notion roll-up. This is my hooker hotel. Thank you. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do, and this makes my life a lot easier, down here where my hole is, I have all of this fabric just kind of like hanging out, right? And this has to roll in on itself so that I can sew it closed. Now you could, if you wanted to, because if you're special and you want extra credit, feel free. You could roll this closed and line everything up and take it somewhere and ladder stitch it, whip stitch it, whatever stitch you know by hand. Hand is a 4-letter word in my home. I don't do hand sewing. You could sew this closed by hand. I'm not going to do that. I am going to top stitch all the way around all of this so that I can get everything nice and lined up and close this. So I'm going to take the fabric, I'm going to fold it in on itself. I'm going to line up those folded edges, and then I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to set it right on top of here. And that will make my life a whole lot easier when I go to the sewing machine and I want to do my top edge stitch, because now my fabric on both sides is lined up and I don't have to overpin or anything. I can if I want to, but because I folded that seam in, I folded that hole closed, everything's going to be good to go. So the final step for me is going to be to keep my flap out, keep my little, well, second to final step, keep my little ribbon out. So my ribbon is hanging out, my flap is hanging out, and then then I'm just going to go around all 4 sides with a 3mm stitch length, about 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. I'm going to edge stitch this to give it that really nice finished look. Lots of comments in there about how they thought hookers came to your house. Oh, geez. Somebody said I was very funny today. Thank you. I appreciate you. I've been having a blast. We'll have to do this again next month. What do you think?
I think it would be a lot of fun.
And we'll have
Especially, I like this sewing along with a friend here.
Yeah.
Project.
This is a lot of fun. I like the format of you opening the box, putting it on your channel. People can see what it's going to be, and they can see what we're going to do ahead of it, and then we'll come and I'll ruin the surprise for me, and we can sew it live next month. It'll be fun. I like this. Oh gosh. I feel like the more bulk you add, the better your edge stitching looks, because the stitches become more defined, and it just makes my heart so happy. I can't wait to show you what this looks like when it's all done. I am so pleased. And it's dusk to dawn, so I mean, you can't go wrong, right?
What color thread are you using?
Just my white. I use 6722 for all of my piecing, and I didn't change it out for quilting. So that's what I'm using right now. It's actually not a white, it's more like a cream, but still. It goes quite nicely with this, actually.
I can see that because it'll pull in the lighter tones in here. I actually, for once in my life, I changed out the thread and put the one that Monique had sent. I had got it all set up. And usually I just always use either a cream or a gray for everything. All
right, I'm going to trim some of my loose threads before I do my final piece, which is just going to be to put some free motion like stitches into this just to add some character to it. I'm not going to do a lot. I'm just going to do a little bit. Oh gosh. Fallon, this is, it's so nice. I'm so happy. And no,
a little flap, you know why? Because you get more of the fabric line in your project.
Yeah, yes. Monique said, count me in. So awesome. Monique will be here with us too. Oh my gosh, look at that flap. Look at this. You guys, look. Oh, I have one hooker. I have 3 other hookers. They're hanging out in the street corner. Look at that. My hooker hotel is coming along. And now the hooker hotel is closed for business.
Now you're going to need to embroider on your flap hooker hotel. Send it to Tiffany. Give her a job.
And Natalie says too many hookers will cost a lot. And Delia said, get the red light out.
This took a turn.
Colleen said one hooker is more than some people have. Heather said, I still dare you to free motion quilt hooker hotel on that flap. Teresa said it's a hooker bed. Okay, we're going to stop with the hooker jokes now. Let me show you how. Heather said, quit trying to steal my idea. This is how. Oh, the bot's catching some of these messages. Buffy said, your hookers are all ready to hit the sack for the night. We are talking about Becca's brothel.
Oh no.
Look, I can't embroider because I don't have an embroidery machine anymore. But you know, if a friend who had an embroidery machine, Tiffany, maybe embroidered hooker hotel on a fat quarter and sent it to me, I would work it into one. However, so somebody asked for me to roll it up so you could see what it looks like, and so this is what I'm doing. I'm just going to loosely roll it, just like this, and this is where the fun kind of comes in. My flap is a little stiff because it's still new, so the way I'm going to deal with that is pull that down a little bit, so I have, instead of having the flap perfectly lined up at the top, we're just going to oh no, Colleen said, oh Becca, my college boy is looking very judgmental. Does he think you're watching a show about quilts and hookers? Like, we're talking about crocheting, dude. They're called hooks. Because they got hooks on the end. So that's what it looks like rolled up. And so once it's rolled up, you just grab this tie. You have one that goes in either direction, and you just wrap it around and tie it shut. Like, I usually wrap one around once, and then the other one around the other way, and then they come back to this little flap, and I just loosely tie a little bow in it. Just like that. And so now I've got my little Notion roll-up, which could also be called a million other things and done a million different ways. How's yours look?
I'm loving it. I already want to make another one.
I know. I'm like, let me go get the blues. Let's do another one. I've got some fusible battery. We can make it work. It's great.
I mean, it's such a nice project to use up those fat quarters that you maybe have from a line you got and you didn't use it all in your project. And
yep. I will say I am really happy that my mom said that somebody said something about the flap. And I'm really happy that my mom mentioned that she has a problem with her stuff falling out because, and I've seen it actually, because there isn't a flap. I made a longer version of one of these for her. It's about 22 inches long, and all of the pockets are an inch wide so that she can put her crochet hooks down in there, but it doesn't have a flap. And so what happens is when you roll it up, those over time, the pockets start to give and the things start to slide out. And so there have been multiple times where I have went to help her move her stuff, and I pick up this beautiful little roly-poly that I made for her to put her stuff in, and all of her hooks fall all over the place. So this flap folding down should at least keep them from falling all the way out. They might slide down, but they won't fall out. So that was a super great idea. Whoever came up with that, chef's kiss. All right, Fallon, you ready to see what some people have been doing in the Facebook group?
I am. Seeing those pictures, because when I go onto your Facebook page and see them all there, I'm like, oh, ideas.
Right? The inspiration that you get just from seeing what other people are working on is so wonderful. Let's share my screen, and I will open up the Facey books. But first, if you haven't shared in the Facebook group, now is your time, because after I share in the Facebook group, we're out of here. It's been 2.5 hours. I didn't think we were going to get an hour and a half. I can't believe we got 2.5. This is awesome. Awesome sauce. What? Let me share my screen. So when I share my screen, you should actually see it too. There we go. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, and it's just the browser, right? You don't see anything else?
Right. Yeah.
We have a new member request. Nancy Robeson, we've got you. So let's take a look at what you guys have been doing today. All right. So Yvonne, oh my goodness, Yvonne made Easter baskets.
Oh, those are cute.
They're super cute. Lots of them for her grands. Delia, a few things that she did this past week. We've got Glem.
Cute. That is so cute.
That looks like a Tennessee color. Oh, she made a tie. That's pretty.
That is beautiful fabric.
Oh, that's
my goodness.
cute. Oh, look! That's cute. All right, Susan, you're out. The Churn Dash baby quilt was finished earlier this week and delivered. The second photo is a work in progress, ring toss quilt. I bought a fat quarter bundle at our new quilt shop. The other is a baby quilt that I am now hand binding. So this is the one that was finished earlier.
And you were just talking about Churn Dash.
Yes, I was.
Those are all great. Those are just beautiful.
I love the colors that people pick. Oh my goodness, look, we got some tiny piecing. Debbie said, I'm trying to decide what to do with these. I use scraps to make these blocks. Look how tiny. I love tiny piecing. And I don't know about you, but my eye immediately went to like all the little half square triangles right here with all the little borders and the layout that she has. But then my eyes went due north. And look at that pile of triangles that she has. Ah! That's a lot. Oh, she's trying to decide how to arrange them.
Different layouts, yeah.
What do you like?
I kind of like how she has that pinwheel started on the last one.
Yeah.
I kind of like that, but I don't know.
I kind of like the randomness of them pointing in different directions with the dark.
On the first one?
Yeah, like it kind of, this of course speaks to my eye, but this just like your eye never rests anywhere. It feels super scrappy. It's just, I like that. It'll be interesting to see what she chooses.
I don't think it'll go wrong either way since they all look great.
Donna said, thank you tons for sharing so many of us by your mentorship. It's been a joy. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of this, but Donna Struntz does have a YouTube channel if you want to check her out. She is in the live chat. She put her channel link out there, or one of the moderators can help her. Jennifer Turney said, you inspired me, Becca. I went to Michael's on Monday to pick up a yarn and a hook. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, she got so far.
No, she picked Picked up yarn and a hook. I watched a YouTube video from Marley Bird for the absolute beginner to figure out how to do this. I think I have the hang of it, but not sure what will happen if I am not crocheting back and forth. Picture evidence of my progress this week. Holy
Wow.
wow.
A beginner? Oh my god. Mine turned into a triangle when I tried to crochet.
So this is her beginning. And that's her progress. And oh my goodness. Jennifer, nicely done. So pretty. And I love the color. I did think this one was funny. Lorraine yesterday was like, so I was wondering why I didn't receive a notification of the live tonight. Even went to look for the video. Then I realized today is only Thursday.
That's me. I always get the days mixed up.
Yep. This was, by the way, this is, somebody posted this. I saw this in the background of one of Becca's guests and I had to have it. A YouTube search brought it up and the pattern was free. It's a great stash buster. I think this was Tracy from the sewing channel that had that in the background, but maybe I'm wrong.
It's really cute.
Super cute. I'm just going to look and see if there's anything else from within the past couple hours. I don't want to do the entire history of the Facebook group on the live stream because we'd be here forever. I just like to look at what people have posted tonight. Paula Whedon with their finished quilt that I made. Oh my goodness.
That is beautiful.
Yeah. Let's just all stop and take a moment to appreciate how beautiful that is. And also, like, this is where things get really fun for me when you look at a quilt. If you just stop and absorb it, it doesn't even matter what the quilt is, just thinking about the work that went into it. She picked up the blue from the cross in the four corners. She has all of these little chevron pieces of orange around the outside pointing towards the center. And then the way that she did the quilting with those lines kind of coming out away from the cross helped to just like, they all draw your eye right in. And in the middle is a little heart. I love it. That's great. Nicely done. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I love this. Oh, this is going to be gorgeous. I love her fabric choices. And I would like to call dibs. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Oh, she said this is a Linda Fugate. Said this is a quilt top that she just finished. She said her son thinks it may be too busy, and I was thinking it was more masculine or searching quilt for a child. So like an I Spy quilt.
I love it.
I actually feel like I mean it is busy. I think it is busy. I do think it is masculine, but I think like my eye keeps setting on the brown borders.
That's what I was thinking too. That really gives you a place to rest and focus. So I think it works.
Yep. I think if you use that brown as a nice thin inner border, you could stop as long as you have a place for your eye to rest. I think that brown for an inner border would be nice. And then you could do something not as busy for an outer border and it'd be beautiful. It's amazing how much difference the right border can add to a quilt, or how much difference the wrong border can add to a quilt. Brandy, aka the 100 Proof Quilter, finished piecing the Shooting Stars quilt and learned how to do mitered corners. I still need to finish mine.
That's from the Sew Sampler, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep, sure is. I've got all of the blocks made. I just got to put them together now. And I have it on a shelf. I will eventually get to it. Oh my goodness.
That's
part. Paul's working on one of the blocks of the months. That's very pretty. Very pretty.
Those are great fabrics.
Yep. And then I think we've seen this. So I think we're back to the beginning. I do have a member request. So a couple of them. So we'll get you guys both in. I'll refresh and see if anybody else posted anything. I love this part because I feel like I spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or whoever's on with me. It's not just all about me, but I feel like we spend time inspiring you and showing you what we're working on. But this is a chance for us to really kind of make it full circle and see what you've been working on while we've been here. It makes me feel like, by the way, there's the back of that quilt. It makes me feel like I'm actually sewing with someone.
Yes.
This is really I love this. This is one of my favorite parts of the evening. And I don't see anything else in here, but it's possible that one of those new folks just posted. So I'm going to refresh again. I'm going to pull my browser window for the chat over here so I can keep it, because I just realized I'm not even watching the chat because I can't see it. So there could be something happening in the chat that I need to see. People love Courtney's elephant, by the way. So much pretty inspiration. Colleen says, Sweetheart Creation says, I love show and tell. Great job and beautiful projects to everyone. Good night, Teresa. I think Teresa's checking out tonight. See you later. I think that's pretty much it, though. Like, I think we're set. I'm going to refresh one more time and make sure there's nothing else in here. But if that's it, then we might be done. Yep, I think it's still loading. Gosh.
These are so amazing.
They are. They
So
really...
much talent. So much talent.
Mm-hmm. Oh, here's one.
Oh, there's one.
Susan Timchak, just finished tonight. My pillow from the Sweet Pea April Kiss Sew Along. That's very pretty. It looks like embroidery too.
Yeah, I think so. Those are so pretty.
Absolutely. All right. How do I stop sharing? I press that button that says stop sharing. Well, Fallon, I'm going to call it a night. I've got my Hooker Hotel, aka Notion Roll. It was a blast sewing with you, and I would love it if you have the availability to come back and sew with me and Monique next month when we get our May box.
Yes, that would be so much fun. This was a blast.
It was definitely a blast. For everybody else out there watching, if you are watching the live stream, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you are watching the replay, give me a thumbs up. Either way, if that subscribe button down below is red, that's because you are not subscribed. I would love it if you would hit the subscribe button. I do a live stream every Friday night at 8 p.m. And then there are a variety of other videos that I try to post throughout the week. Also tonight, we have Fallon with us. And don't forget, you can get a link to her channel by doing !Fallon in the chat, Fallon. That'll give you a link to her YouTube channel called So Be It Quilts. Hop over there, check out her content, and if you like what you see, if you like her style at all, hit that subscribe button and check out some of her videos, because that's going to help encourage her to make more content just like what she's putting out there for you right now. That's everything for today, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You don't have to go home, but you know the rule. You can't stay here because I'm ending the live stream. I'll see you later.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much, Becca.
Yeah, not a problem. I'll talk to you later, Fallon.